Hey everybody, welcome back to Kingdummies from the Mangaki no Tsukai boys. My name is Evan, and as always, I'm joined by Adam and Jesse.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
So last we left off, we ended at chapter 149. We're going to be starting today's episode at chapter 150. Before we do that, thanks for everybody that watched the episode. I think last time was like our best episode yet. And we got a lot of really good feedback, a lot of messages and stuff from people. Saying that they like the show. So thank you for everybody that reached out and talked to us. Um, you guys, how you guys doing?
Doing all
As in,
right.
yeah, Jesse and Adam.
Yeah, doing all right. This like I said to you guys, I read pretty much this entire block of chapters in one night. I was up till 2 a.m. because I couldn't stop reading even after I got to where we were supposed to leave off.
Mm. Yeah, I kind of did basically the same thing because it's like it's just so good. The ending part of this arc is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I think it's the best part of this arc, and I think it's the best. These chapters we're gonna go through, I think, are the best block of chapters we've read thus far.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, we're now over 173 chapters in, but I still wasn't quite expecting what happened here to happen so quickly into the series. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, comparatively, because this series has gone on till like I think it's on chapter 657 right now.
Right.
Um, but at this point, they've been publishing for like what were we saying, like 4 years or something like that. Last
Right. This is
episode,
like yeah.
yeah. So relatively for like shonen, that's really not too long, I guess. Um, and this is like in the heyday too when this is being published of like Bleach and Naruto and stuff. And One Piece obviously too was a big thing. So those are all very very long series that went on for hundreds and hundreds of chapters. So relatively, it's pretty early, but it's still a few years in, you know.
Is this series really considered like a shonen first, or is it more for like a seinen demographic or something, like for older
I feel like
kids?
it's not really shonen. Maybe it could have started off as shonen, but I feel like there's way too much killing going on. But it's still not like dark, like how seinens might tend to come off. Because like when I
Yeah.
think of seinens, like I guess the big one that comes to my head is like Berserk, right?
Right.
Mm.
And not that that's like the um, the industry standard for that type of genre, but like that's what comes to my mind. Like a lot of blood, a lot of killing, and like a little bit darker themes. Whereas with Kingdom, we get that killing. Obviously, there are a lot of people getting decapitated and cut in half constantly, but I
Hmm.
don't think it's portrayed in such a dark way. It is
Yeah.
warfare, so I would still consider this a seinen.
Well, I
Not
just
not much.
googled it.
Uh-huh.
I I just googled it, and according to Wikipedia, it's a seinen magazine.
Okay, so there you go.
Um,
Yeah, I think going off of what you were saying too, Adam, just about like the topic matter of Kingdom, it also is. It's not really like based in fantasy. It's, I guess, more historic. You know,
Right,
so
right,
maybe that kind of lends into it not being like a Berserker or something
right,
like
exactly.
that. Some Uzumaki or something.
Oh,
wow, so I'm
that's
looking at I'm looking at this right now, and it's published in Weekly Young Jump, which had published Gantz. It publishes Golden Kamui,
that's another
um,
great one. We should definitely
which
do that.
I'm actually starting to read that,
Ooh,
and
it's good as
it's
fuck.
actually really really cool, man.
It's really good.
I like all the hunting and like Ainu stuff they
Mm-hmm.
talk about, all
Yep,
like the
yep.
different. Uh, I want to try Pidipap or whatever it's called.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a really cool one, Jess. We should definitely check that out. Uh,
There's also an anime out for Golden Kamuy. I think it's on season 3, and it's very good if you're looking to watch something.
hmm. Um, speaking of anime, this weekly Young Jump also apparently publishes Terraform Mars,
Oof.
which the first season was pretty cool. I really liked that. But then I remember
Uh-huh.
the second season came out and it was just like,
Yeah, I first season was great, and then I was like, man, I don't really like the
yeah, we
second
watched that
season.
together, I think,
Yeah,
right?
we watched it, and then I read, and the manga wasn't really much further ahead than the first season of the anime at the time I was reading, even though there was a crap ton of chapters out. But there was way more prequel stuff in the manga than there was. Like the anime just jumped right into kind of like these people with the powers and them going to Mars.
Yeah, I think it set up the story as to why they're doing what they're doing rather
Mhm.
than just kind of like a 5-minute narration.
Right.
I think was what the anime had.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been a few years though since I don't really remember it too much.
Yeah, I mean, we read that back. I read it back when we were living at the Briar Patch, so
Yeah, same.
uh
But yeah,
I just wanted to bring up you said Uzumaki before. There's a really cool, well, I'm hoping it's going to be really cool cuz I love that manga Netflix adaptation coming out,
Oh, right, yeah.
and they're not coloring it. It's going to look like it's, drawn in the style of a manga.
they're
Right.
not coloring that.
No,
Yeah, that's
it's going to be
it's gonna
like
be awesome.
it's going to supposed to look like it's a manga being animated.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited for that. I don't know if you guys
What
have read it, but it's really good.
what was that one thing that was like it was like a few minute stories. I
Oh,
think it was on
Was it here?
Crunchyroll.
Here? Oh.
yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's like the Junji Ito collection, but better. Because the Junji Ito collection was not great. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yamashiba or something like that.
Yamashiba. Let
At,
me look.
at the end of every episode, they would say,
Yamashibai.
yeah, yeah. At the end of every episode, they would say the name of the anime.
Yeah, that was really cool. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed that. I wonder if it's still going on.
might be.
I would,
It used to creep me out when I'd watch it at night.
yeah, like in the middle of the night, nobody else around.
All the lights out. Get a little
hmm
spooked.
Underneath the covers.
My hot cocoa and my fuzzy bunny slippers.
And then your cat jumps out of your closet
Yeah, clawed my
and you shit
face.
yourself. Claws your face, blinds you. Oh, thank God I don't have to watch this scary stuff anymore. Yeah. So, yeah, this is definitely seinen. Just to bring it back,
Yeah.
a lot of the consensus online seems to be like it is totally seinen, but like there's like a few shonen tropes in it, like I don't know, just like the way Shin acts. But and I guess a lot of shonen doesn't have like politicking and stuff like that.
Yeah. Politicking should be kicking up in maybe the next arc that we're gonna
Yeah,
read. Uh,
yeah.
One of my favorite parts about the end of this arc is the like we finally get to see a little bit more strategy than people just like Dukyo is more just like, all right, let's just send everything. Let's just fucking send it.
hmm
Let's just go. We get a lot more strategy involved in these chapters we're gonna go through, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
totally.
A lot more
So,
4D chess going on.
oh, so much, so much, and we get to show in this little arc here one of my favorite characters,
Ugh.
who's like the grand chess master of 4D chess.
I give him that
So
much. He's definitely the grand chess master of 4D chess.
he is like the deep blue of Kingdom.
Yeah, absolutely. Fucking machine, right? That's what Deep Blue was. It was like a computer built to be a chess master.
Yeah, I don't know if it was built to be. Oh no, it was built to be a chess computer.
Okay.
But in chapter 150, we get a lot of really cool stuff where we're starting off. It starts off with the Chin cavalry charge to save the Hushin unit. Um, and they're going off against Shomo. On the third page, we get this awesome shot of Oki leading his cavalry. Really cool detail. I know in one of the past episodes we were talking about eyes and stuff. I don't know if these things on his pauldrons are supposed to be eyes or reminiscent of eyes, but I think that I'm gonna assume that is. That's my headcanon now.
Yeah, everything that's a circle is now an eyeball.
Yeah, basically. And
Reaching.
well, they even got like little pupils. See?
They could pass for spider eyes, I would argue, but I don't know if that's what these are supposed to be. I feel like Kano and the boys' helmets are much more eyeball. Yeah. I wanted to point out, I really love how this mangaka is like able to just use shading to make the armor and like look shiny. Like
Yeah.
it looks like it's metal. Look, the thing on his head, you could like it looks like it's gold or whatever it's supposed to be, you know? Like
yeah, no, I 1000% agree. He's such a good artist.
It's crazy how talented he is. I mean, you know, Kingdom is definitely not. There's a lot of amazing artwork out there and a lot of really good mangas, and Kingdom is no exception to that. It is up there with some of the best, in my opinion.
But even like on the Zhao armor and stuff as well.
Yeah.
So like I'm looking on page 2, and the on the left on the center there, this guy gets going Shomo-sama. You can see like the detailing in like on by like his neck on the shoulder things there. It's basically, it's like that doesn't look like cloth or anything. That looks like metal. It's like what you're saying. You know?
Right. It's just the way that he's able to draw that, and you know, again, it's probably not all him. I'm assuming his assistants are drawing a lot of the panels where it's just a shit ton of people.
For sure, yeah, he's definitely got a team
right
behind him.
Yeah, I think assistants also help out with like the halftone pages and stuff like that as well. But I'm sure that Yasuhisa, right? Yasuhisa Hara, I'm sure that he's killing it. Like I'm sure that he's drawing a lot of it, and it's yeah, shit is awesome.
So I don't know if actually I'm going a little bit off topic here, but I don't know if you know this, Jesse. I'm pretty sure you know this, Adam. But Kingdom actually holds the record for most authors acting on a series, because there was a competition where they a bunch of authors from a bunch of different other manga completely redrew one of the volumes. So, like, Oda had a chapter that he did. Kishimoto, who drew Naruto, had a chapter. I forget what the thing was called, but it was like some competition, and it's really cool.
I actually didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Okay, I'll try to
idea.
find it and send it to you guys. I don't know if it might be a little bit farther out from where we're at. I think it might be part of the coalition arc.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no. So like Oda drew some, and it's like all in their styles and stuff. But it's the same story, you know, basically shot for shot, just in different styles.
That's really cool. Yeah, I had no idea about that.
I'd love to see Oda's, man.
Yeah, I'd like to see Oda's as well. I could picture, I could kind of picture what it would look like. But yeah, that's really cool. Oh, dude, I found this hilarious picture. I didn't send it because it kind of wouldn't make sense for Jesse, but Evan, I'll send it to you. It's a picture of like Oki with a different person's helmet on, but I'll just send it to you. Sorry, I'm going off topic with this.
So before we get farther in, I'm looking at this article here, and it's got I'm gonna put it in our chat here. It's got Oda, it's got Kishimoto from Naruto, Araki drew some, the guy who made Vagabond.
Oh.
I'm literally looking at that page right now, and dude, Oda's looks like Oda, right?
I have seen this picture before.
Kishimoto's looks like Jim Halpert.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Look at him. Look at Shin by Kishimoto. Looks like Jim Halpert, dude.
You think that
Does
looks like
it?
Jim Halpert?
That looks like exactly like him.
I got.
Jesse, I think you've been eating too many onions, bro.
Too many onions.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna show the people what this looks like. You guys let us know. Does this look like Jim Halpert?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Jesse's just eating too many onions.
Look at Jim Halpert every day.
You do look at Jim Halpert more so than we do. But...
Fucking exactly. Maybe you're watching too much of The Office, and you're just seeing Jim everywhere you go. It's like when you buy a car and you're driving around, and it's like, oh, that's my car. You see, you know.
Oh, Araki drew one too.
Yeah, that's Toe right there.
Oh,
it
dude,
looks like
man,
the Vagabond one looks
so good.
Yeah,
so good.
dude.
God damn.
So,
I think
I
that's
don't
how
know.
you say his name.
I think I like the Oda one the best, honestly. Just because Shin looks awesome.
The Oda one
Shin
looks really
looks
cool.
so fucking dope.
I feel like Shin could pass as like Ace. You put Ace's hat on him right there. I feel like it looks like Ace.
Yeah, Ace with some body armor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he could fit well in Wano maybe.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
But also the Vagabond one.
I like that some of these are like gag ones because like the voice actors and whatnot drew some of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Damn, the voice actor Masakazu Morita actually drew a really good picture of Shin.
Yeah, he did. It looks like this volume is like in the 200s. Yeah, this is the 26th volume, is what this article says.
That's cool.
So it says here, anyone with a Twitter or Facebook account can also participate. So I'm guessing that's fucking loads of people on Japanese Twitter.
Oh, I'm sure. I bet there's some really cool like fan drawn ones as well.
Dude, so voice actor Rikiya Koyama, I'm guessing that's fucking Oki and Toe right there.
The really goofy, just like the face one.
Yeah.
It's definitely Oki and Toe.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's get back to the chapters. So real quick before we leave page 3 of the first chapter we're talking about, look at Oki's ear. What the fuck is going on with his ear? He drew him so well, and this is an awesome shot of Oki, but he's got like 3 like things in his ear.
Yeah, you're not talking
about
this
guy. That's how this guy draws ears. They're all like that.
Are they?
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. They're all like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I will be honest, I never even noticed that.
Yep. I think it's weird too.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. But I'm willing to look past it since everything else is drawn so beautifully. Especially big voluptuous lips.
Ears are bizarre.
I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't even notice that until just now.
His big voluptuous lips?
No. How could I miss those fucking DSLs, bro?
Those new foo makers.
Foo. I bet if he fucking closed his mouth and then blew out, it would sound like a fart.
That is funny as fuck. All right.
So on the next page, Toe is also saying something that we're all thinking. Where Oki called out, "Oh yeah, I knew this is what they were doing. It appears I was correct, wouldn't you say?" "Yes, sir. An idea befitting of a pig."
That is exactly how I picture Toad talking. By the way, you did that perfectly.
Like a hi. Yes, sir.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That is exactly how in my headcanon he talks.
In my headcanon, Oki. Not Toki. Goddamn.
That's their fusion, huh? That's when they put on the Patari earrings. They become Toki.
Yeah, that would be my name if I was a Kingdom character.
Toki.
To me, Toki. Oki kind of sounds a little bit similar to that, but maybe like a little bit deeper, a little bit more menacing.
Yeah, I think a little bit deeper. Not as like cheerful.
For sure. Definitely a little bit more, I don't know, a little gruffer.
Gruffer.
But you can see Shomo is like clearly a little afraid. His neck rolls get to maximum levels. I think this is the largest we see on page 5.
Yeah,
I'm counting
I wrote in my
4.
notes page 5.
Yeah. I mean, first off, we see it from the back, and we've got 3 rolls there, and then from the front where he's like,
It looks like
he's got 4 rolls.
It looks like he has a hoodie on the top panel. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Legitimately, dude, you're totally right. That's so fucking gross.
And yeah, the middle panels are hilarious.
Ooh. Ooh, oh my, excuse me. I don't know where that one came from. My cat just looked at me like I just murdered her.
Nice Shomo impression.
I feel like Shomo would sound like oh my god, why can I not remember his name now?
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah, Qui-Gon Jinn. No, Kinemon from Dorohedoro, the voice actor that played the main character.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? You know how he laughs? I feel like that's how this guy's laughing right now.
That's the same guy who voiced oh my god. I
said Kinemon.
JoJo Part.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I know who you're talking about. But in JoJo Part 4, what's his fucking face?
Okuyasu.
Yeah, Okuyasu. Yeah. Okuyasu. Yeah, that's him. That's the same guy. That's another manga I want to read is Dorohedoro, but all the scans I've seen are shitty. I don't think they're...
Mangadex actually has good scans, I think. The rest, okay. I started reading it on like Manganello or something, and or maybe it was Kiss It manga or something, and the scans were like super dark, super dark, and I was like, man, the guy drew this really weird. And then I was like, man, the translation for this is kind of shitty. Let me try a different website. And I was like, this is what it's supposed to look like? Why is the other one so fucking dark?
Yeah, they must just have like a shitty printer or something.
Seriously, bad scanner. Kaimon, not Kinemon. Kinemon's the fucking character.
Yeah, Kaimon. Yeah, I was gonna say Kinemon's the
Wano samurai.
Mm-hmm. The kabuki looking motherfucker.
No.
Oh, that's Kanjuro. Yeah. Kinemon's Foxfire Kinemon. Right.
Yeah.
God damn it. I'm all over the place today.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll just we'll give you a pass, I guess, maybe. See how you do the rest of this episode.
It should be all right, if we can get through it.
Yeah, seriously.
So in this chapter, we see I really like this moment where it's like Toe has a flashback, where who's that? Rinbo? Yeah, Commander Rinbo is like telling him to keep Oki away from Shomo. And he has this flashback. He's like, oh yeah, Shomo. As far as Shomo's strength is concerned, it has no limits. And Shomo is just kind of tearing through the chin lines, but and Oki and Toe and all those guys are watching it. And Oki's just like, Toe. He's like, sir, I'm going. Yes, sir. And Oki just goes forward and just fucking wrecks Shomo. Shomo has this moment where he's like, oh yeah, do you have any idea how long I waited for this day? And like all this internal monologue where he's like, oh yeah, I wasn't born back then, but if I was, like, I would have beat you chin 6. It's time to say goodbye to you old relics. And he's got this like, bravado to him, but on page 15, 16, 17, we get like 3 shots of the same thing happening. And I really like Toe's monologue in like the usually narrator box, where he's saying like both Shomo and Rinbo are mistaken. The one whose strength knows no limits is our Lord General Oki. And it just goes to show how much of a great guy Toe is, because he never doubted Oki in the first place. I think out of these 3 pages, page 16 is my favorite, where he's like halfway through chopping Shomo up like mincemeat.
Yeah, I like how big they
Fucking
drew the blade.
finally. Yeah. And I
I
also
like the
like how he
horse.
cut through the horse.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah, the poor horse, man.
Poor thing. Yeah, I mean, just some great shit. I'm really glad that they finally fucking did this, because Shomo's like one of the worst characters we've seen so far. Just in design, as like a person, he's a bad person, you know.
Yeah, he's up there with Roboku, honestly.
Okay. We'll get to that later, okay?
Uh-huh.
So next chapter starts out, Oki and his cavalry are talking to the Hishin unit, and he's saying, you know, oh yeah, you guys are cut down to like less than half your numbers, and he's asking Shin like, it's painful, right? And Shin saying, it really is, but I'm not trying to think about it, but all I want to do was, you know, fight and get even more achievements with these dudes, or else, you know, the dudes that died their deaths are gonna be in vain. And Oki's kind of impressed with that. Yeah, this is one of the mentor moments for Oki and Shin. One of the many that we get, or rather one of the few, kind of. But this kind of really sticks with Shin throughout the series as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just making the point that like, they're on the path to being a general. There's going to be a lot of sacrifice, and there's going to be a lot of blood, but you just have to kind of stick through it and overcome it. And once you do, that's how you become a general. He says it was worth bestowing the Hishin name upon their unit, which means like Hishin, I believe, means like flying reliable or something like that. I think there was like a translator's note when he first named the Hishin unit, and that's what it said.
Gotcha.
Moving forward, we actually get a little bit of Hoken being kind of polite, because he goes back to the Zhao HQ and he's talking to Choso, and Choso's like being polite as well. He's like being almost apologetic.
Yeah. No, don't worry about it, man. No, you can go out and do that. No, don't worry about it.
Yeah, basically.
I'm just glad you're safe, man.
Yeah. He's like, hey, next time, can you just let us know? Just give us a little bit of warning. And Hogan's like, oh no, no need to fret. I understand. Is that how Hogan's voice is in your mind now? No need to fret. I understand. Like a Randy Marsh.
No, not at all. But that is funny. I like on the next page as well. Chosu's doing this sweet JoJo pose.
Oh yeah. So you have finally come, Oki. Dan later. In this chapter, we get a little bit more about the mountain strategy. Mobu finally finds the Zhao HQ, and instead of waiting for everybody else, they toss the original plan out of the way, and his force of 25,000 is going to take the offense to the Zhao's HQ of 30,000. We get a little bit more about like smoke signals and stuff like that, and also like about flags and stuff. A little bit from Riboku in this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I like how Mogo's fucking calling him Riboku Dono, because I guess he just understands that this guy's has some serious swinging nuts. I guess when they were on the Chin people's carriage, he pulled out a pair of truck nuts and slapped it on the back of their carriage.
Now this guy's got some nuts.
Yeah, on page 13, this guy going flags ... as if fucking he's never heard of a flag before. I wanna fucking Photoshop this to say, now this guy's got some nuts.
Or you could just say nuts. He's got Mobu's
Now-
voice from the last episode. It's time for nuts.
Now this boy's got some C and B's. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a little bit dumb, this section, because it's like, oh, flags can mean one thing, but they can also mean another thing, and they're like,
yeah.
Flags. It's like, whoa, really?
Yeah, but even one of the memes was like, "We know. Stop telling us about flags. We know what
Yeah.
flags are used
Yeah.
for. Stop."
Yeah.
Which I think
Anybody-
how all of us feel when we were reading this part. Like, okay, we get
Okay,
it.
we get it. I get it. Just get back to fucking the part where Mobu's literally charging at the Zhao HQ, and you know, in this chapter, this entire chapter or two behind has been like, oh yeah, the decisive battle is here. Oh yeah, the end of the battle is coming. And then it goes, flags can mean one thing when they're this time. Flags can mean another when they're not. God. Well, anyway, there's a little bit of foreshadowing where he says flags also possess a disadvantage of possessing a smaller viewable range. So finally it goes back to Mobu and Choso and Kosun Ryu's fight. But Mobu's getting halted. I like this on page 15. It shows like a little bit of the Zhao HQ and how like they have their defenses set up with the walls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it has Mobu just tearing through them. And even though Mobu's army is kind of getting blunted, their assault, Mobu's just seriously taking the lead and pushing their way forward. He's just tearing shit up. And at the end of this chapter, we get like a nice little stare down between Mobu and Hoken.
It would have been cool if they actually went at it. Oh, like to see that.
Yeah. Also, by the way, at the very end of this chapter on page 21, we get like a little omake from like a half-drawn page of like the night previously, where Kyokai was like holding off all the Zhao that were pursuing Denyu and the rest of the troop that she was with. I like this, just because we didn't get to see it. You know, like when they showed up, they were like, "Oh yeah, we got away thanks to Kyokai."
Right.
But we didn't get to see it, so this is nice.
Right,
because
I think I even said like, how the fuck did they survive in the episode that we covered that the last episode? I was like, how the fuck did they live through that? Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like Mangoku's army, it's like on horses, chasing down like 40 completely injured and tired people, and then not most of them, like I think they said 36 of them lived, and I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I guess if you want to use Kyokai as plot armor, it makes sense.
Yep. That's basically it.
Fine by me.
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
Kyokai's
Honestly,
ridiculous, so I get it.
So in chapter 152, it starts off with a little bit of fighting. We get shots of Mobu and Hoken from the top of their heads staring at each other.
Yeah.
And I really like page 7. This is one of the coolest spreads we've got in this arc, where they're staring each other down, and look at Mobu's the wrinkles on his fucking face. He's just pissed. But yeah, even like all the Chin army that is around Mobu staring at Hoken like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is this guy?
Right. Yeah, even Ryukoku's like, man, Hoken is scary.
Mm-hmm. And this is like Mobu's like crack troops as well, so it's like goes to show how much of a badass Hoken is. The next page here, we get a little bit of a shot of Oki and his cavalry. I want to point out, every time we see Oki on a horse, he's always got his arm on his waist like that. I love that. It's just so fucking swaggy, you know?
Yeah, it's the prestige of being an boy.
So what else? In this chapter, Mobu and Hoken are about to fight, Ryokoku's like, he's telling them, he tells the soldiers, like, that's Hoken right there, the guy that you're fucking staring at. He's casually appeared before us. We got to kill him. And even Mobu's like, what the fuck? Even I'm getting cold sweats, which is like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen nothing but stubborn hard-headedness from Mobu so far in the series. And like, even he's freaking out. He goes, even I'm getting cold sweats? Interesting!
It's a great reaction. And he just goes right at him. You'll love to see
Yeah.
it.
There goes Mobu. But before we get to see their clash, Hoken just kind of fucks off. He starts running away from Mobu, which is very un-Hoken-like, you know? Mobu's under this assumption that Hoken doesn't think he's worth the time.
Right.
Which is weird, too, because, we just saw Hoken try to kill a bunch of children. But we know later on, we'll get to that, that's not actually the case.
Yeah, I legitimately don't like this chapter.
No?
Just for the end. Everything else besides it was awesome. The end literally doesn't make any fucking sense.
Oh, what with like
what's about to happen?
Yeah,
Everything that's
yeah.
about to happen like doesn't make like
Yeah.
I get it. I get the persona that Mobu is this guy that just charges forward. All right, well, when we get to it, I'll talk more about it because we're almost
No,
there.
we're basically there. We get before that, we get like a little bit of a flashback where Choso's telling him like, don't fight Mobu, just bait him.
Right.
And I guess he kind of feels bad because he almost fucked everything up, like the night previously.
Right.
By not telling them where he was going.
Yeah, I think
so
at this
he like
point
agrees to the plan, you know.
Yeah, I think at this point Hoken's like, all right, like I did my own thing. I am technically a part of this army. Let me listen to what the strategist is telling me to do. You know.
But so they're chasing Hoken, and everybody around him, around Mobu's like, this is a trap. We should not fucking go here.
Right.
But Mobu's like, oh yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. Like there's nothing that can stop our advance. And then there's just a bunch of fucking rocks that just fall down.
So page 19, I write fucking dumbass in my notes because this guy, I think it's Reiki, one of Hoken's like two boys, is like, there's absolutely nothing that could stop our explosive advance. Like, okay, it'd be one thing if like, all right, this is a trap and they're gonna have people on the cliffs and then they're gonna pincer us from our sides.
Right.
But I didn't think that was gonna happen. I didn't think, like, even the first time I read this, I was like, that's not what's gonna happen. They're gonna drop rocks on them, right? And then literally the next fucking page is these gigantic boulders that just kill half of the people. And like everyone's looking up like, oh shit, like this was a surprise. Like you were surprised this was gonna happen?
Even if it wasn't like rocks, even if the cliffs were lined with like archers or some shit.
You were fucked.
Yeah.
Well,
like what are you gonna do?
I didn't think these were rocks. I thought these were giant peach pits.
Yeah, dude, that's what Hoken has to do to get so swole. He eats peaches five times the size of himself.
But yeah, it just like none of it made sense because like, okay, you let Hoken fuck off and then you just kill the rest of the people that were left behind, like, and then you just stunted their army by a few thousand. Like, instead they did this stupid thing and they pretty much fucked this battle.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the king of Chin, if I was like Shohei-kun after this shit, I would totally fucking either execute or like demote Mobu. Because like this is all his fault.
Right, you're not allowed to make decisions anymore. You can do cool stuff, but you are not going to be a great general, my man. You fucked this.
Seriously, because he's got people around him telling him not to do this. It's very obvious that this is a fucking trap. Anybody would be able to tell, but he still went forward because I'm the strongest in all of China. Fuck you.
Yeah, so like, why he should have just gone by himself. I don't understand why he needed his whole fucking army to come behind him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like, all right, if you got to be that guy, Mobu, then go ahead, go chase Hoken,
Yeah,
but we're gonna keep fighting all these guys. You know, we don't all need to chase fucking Hoken.
Right. That's what I'm
Due to
saying. You
this-
just stay behind and fight the fucking people that got left behind without a commander now. And now they're fucked.
And due to this bullshit, half of his army is dead.
Right.
Just half straight from the get-go in 3 pages. Which, I mean, makes sense that half of them are dead because, like, what the fuck? They just got pulled into this crazy trap.
I like that
But,
they used
yeah.
the what's it called, Jesse? The katakana? Is that what you said it was?
Yeah.
For O again here. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about like on chapter 153, the first page, right? No, you're talking about
the
like,
last page of 152. But
Yeah,
I guess
'cause
they also use it on 153 page 1. So
yeah, they do. We get a nice shot of Mobu looking back, like, how could this happen?
Yeah.
And he's got like the whites in his eyes on the bottom.
Yeah, he's pissed. You know, I can't blame him for being pissed, but you know, it's kind of your fault, my guy.
And even like after he finds out, like, yeah, we've lost approximately half our men. He's like, half, you say? That's enough. Onward. And his boys are telling him, like, oh, there's going to be more traps without a fucking doubt. We should probably not follow them. And he's like, who gives a shit? What are we going to do? Run away when the commander's right there? I can't be stopped by any traps. Like, fuck you. Fuck you, dude. How stupid can you be?
Yeah, I like Mobu a lot, especially going forward after this arc.
For sure, but like, this
God damn,
is
this
the
was
dumbest
stupid.
shit.
Yeah,
This is some of the dumbest shit.
This is stupid. I guess it had to happen to make this arc turn into the way that it's going to turn.
Yeah, but still, like, it kind of relies on, like, literally any other general. I feel like even Shin would be like, maybe we shouldn't go this way.
Right. Yeah, even Shin might have been like, this is a bad idea. Let's just kill these fuckers behind us and then we'll figure out where to go from there.
So later, like a few pages later, you know, we see Oki and his cavalry and the infantry get split up to go different ways because the cavalry has to go through the mountain. It takes a while for horses to get like over this rough terrain. The Hessian unit's still going on. Somehow they're still like on their feet after running away for like all night. And Shin even makes the point, like, you guys, you shouldn't overdo it. It's okay. Like, Ioki even said, you don't have to fucking do anything if you can't keep up. Also on page 7, we get to see Sugen for the first time with his eye out. Sugen with his eye patch is like pretty iconic in my mind of the Hessian unit.
Yeah, going forward, he will be wearing an eye patch, and I even remember the first time we saw Sugen when we were doing this reread. I was like, why does he look different? Something's missing with him, and now
something's off.
Now I know why. Because he's a pirate.
Something's not missing, but something is added.
But yeah, in this chapter we get a little bit about how Oki can read the flags and check out, like, he knows the locations of all the armies. On page 10, that I like this part a little. It's pretty cool because we have, you know, Dokin and Kosen Ryu and Rinbo versus Rihaku and Rokuomi versus Mangoku, and obviously Ryukoku and Mobu versus Choso. But he had lost contact with Ryokoku and Mobu once they engage with the Zhao HQ because they're farther out.
Right.
So Oki is, you know, telling them to really, you know, speed up, get to the battlefield where they need to be. In this chapter, Kaine almost blows it for Karyoten.
Yeah, almost revealed she was a girl to everybody.
Yeah. What's this? Aren't you a girt? And everyone's like, what? What does that mean? A girt?
A girt? Aren't you a girder?
Are you a girder? And like looks over at Karyoten and she's a 2-ton steel beam. But a little bit of foreshadowing at the end of this chapter. A strategist is someone who experiences more pain and suffering than any soldier, and is also far more fearsome. Get a little shot of Riboku from the side. At the end of this chapter, Oki shows up finally to Choso's, where he's at the Zhao headquarters. But the Zhao HQ had already packed up and everything. Oki sends out some scouts, finds out what happened with Mobu, and has to decide that. And they're talking about like, oh yeah, if we proceed any further, we'll lose sight of our headquarters and we'll lose sight of the entire battle. He's like, yeah, we can't help it. Mobu's caught in a trap.
I like when he says that cannot be helped. He's like shining like a saint or something.
Yeah, it's his on page 5.
Oh
of
yeah,
chapter
yeah.
It's like the stained glass
image
of Oki.
I could just picture Oki in a stained glass mirror in a cradle, surrounded by donkeys and stuff. Because he's like baby Jesus.
And there's like a shepherd holding his glaive.
Oh man, Oki basically is Jesus Christ anyway, so this parallel is not too unheard of.
Oh man, you're right. I was gonna make a joke, but I don't want to spoil it yet.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to it. I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I hope.
So, Oki recognizes the trap that Mobu is currently in is probably the one that Choso was going to use to kill him. And Oki recognizes, like, if Mobu's not careful, he's going to fucking die. Like, he's going to lose his life here.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly as we were saying, and exactly what the fucking dudes were saying before, as the Mobu army continues, they just keep getting hit by traps and traps and traps, all the way through. And the one dude, this is Rinkoku, right?
Ryukoku is the one with Mobu.
Yeah, and he's like, "You're a fucking asshole." And on page 7, he's like, "You got a detestable personality, don't you, Choso? You fucking plan this out like well in surprise, or well in advance. But the most surprising aspect of this is that Mobu is like tearing shit up anyway.
Right.
Like even though they're caught in this fucking trap, it doesn't matter because Mobu's just so strong." And he finally catches up to Hoken. On page 11, he smashes Hoken's fucking face in. I love this shot where the eyeball's falling out and shit.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, all right. That's surprising.
But it turns out it's a body double, apparently. Which is it's a stupid fucking thing.
Dude, imagine the Zhao are like, all right, you're gonna dress up like Hoken, and then you're gonna die, and the guy's like, what? I'm gonna die? Like I can't escape? Like no, you're not gonna escape. You're gonna die. The guy's like, all right, fuck you guys.
They roll over the fake Hoken, and it's Hyo from the first chapter.
It's just his body on strings.
Oh no.
Poor but at the end of this chapter, it starts to get. Oh my god.
I did read chapter 1 with those names.
Right.
At the end of this chapter, we get to see Yotanwa finally after a long time.
Yeah, she shows up at Kanyo.
Yeah. It's been so long since we've seen them that it's like such a relief. I'm so glad we get to see these guys again.
Yeah, Mountain People are A+ for sure.
Mm-hmm. But they've got some information for Sei about this war That's pretty important. So next chapter, it's we get a little bit of Choso and Rihaku and Kosun Ryu of all-rounder Kosun Ryu.
Everyone's
Mhm.
favorite all-rounder.
And Rihaku's about to like follow after and go after Choso to help him out, but Rihaku's like, nope, don't do it. You that'll go against the plan and fuck everything up.
Mhm.
And apparently the Zhao idea is to not fight as much as possible. And he says, the Zhao army this time hides a great secret. Get a little bit more of Oki pursuing, and Oki has the same feeling as he had before, where he understands that there's something going on, and he understands that there's some scheme, but he doesn't know exactly what it is. So it goes back to the Qin capital, and there's like a little bit of back and forth between Sei and Yotanwa. And it in this time that we haven't seen them, they've been able to conquer most of the mountain lands.
Hey Evan,
Yeah,
are you gonna answer that oven beeping?
that's someone outside. It's like some sort of
Someone
fucking
backing up.
truck. Yeah,
No,
sorry.
it's all right. It's all right.
So they conquered the rest of the mountain lands, got this massive army, and they're clashing with the Xiongnu and the northern horse tribes, and who are like super capable, right? Like they're a people, quote unquote, a people of warfare whose strength, understanding of warfare, and army sizes are several times greater than even the mountain people, which is like, what the fuck?
Right.
The mountain people were shown to be like steroid motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think the correct term is steroid motherfucker.
Yeah, I think that's how Shobunkun originally described them.
Yeah.
I like we get a little bit more of the northern horse tribes later in the manga as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot. I wish we got a little bit more, but it's pretty cool that there's all these different. Because like obviously in China, there wasn't just these Chinese people in their territories. They even
Right.
like we had oh my god oh man, what the hell was that assassin's name with the axe who carry out 10 touches C and B's?
Oh,
Muta?
the Vietnamese
Muta.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, there's like Muta, there's got to be like mongrels, there's got to be like people of the
Mongrels.
yeah, mongrels, mongols. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Mongols, right? There's got to be people of like the steppe tribes. Like those are probably horseman tribes.
Well, that's what the Xiongnu are.
Right.
And I mean, I don't think the tribe known as the Mongols existed yet, but actually in this chapter or the chapter after where they talk about how oh yeah, here we go. This is a little bit farther, but page 13, they're split into made a few different factions: the Yueshi, the Donghu, and the Xiongnu. So yeah, no, you're totally right. Like it's not just the ethnic, like the Sino people.
Right.
There's more than just the Chinese.
Yeah, I just think it's cool that he uses them. I wish we got to see a little bit more of them.
For sure.
But I guess it's not a big deal for the Qin. I mean, most of these they say like most of these people are in the north, so I guess like the Zhao and I think Yan deal with them more so.
Yeah, it's like Qin, Zhao, and they say in this chapter the Qin, the Zhao, and the Yan put up a wall up north to kind of make sure that these tribal peoples aren't constantly coming into their lands, which I think they're trying to reference the Great Wall, but the Great Wall came like thousands of years later. But we get to see in this chapter a little bit of as to why we don't see more of the Xiongnu and forest people, because Yotan was sent to led an army of 80,000 to attack them, but by the time they got there, they weren't even able to fight them. There was just a fucking field of 100,000 Xiongnu dead, laying there, just dead, defeated by some other unknown army. Pretty awesome shot on page 12 with this feast for crows and like the bodies of them just covered in arrows.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And Shogun-kun's like, it must have been another one of the tribes, right? And Yutan was like, nope, it was the Zhao. It was the Zhao army that did this shit. It was close to the Zhao borders, so they had to have launched an offensive into the Xiongnu land, crushed them. And Shogun-kun's like, what the fuck? We should have heard about this, but we didn't. And I actually like Yutan was like, yeah, that's what I thought, but the reality is you didn't receive any news.
Right.
It's like, oh really? We didn't fucking know about this? What? So we have this like a moment where Yotan was kind of leading Sei on. She's like, why do you think you weren't informed of this? Because they formed an information lockdown to conceal the fact that they possess an army capable of defeating the Xiongnu. And after they hid the army, it's the entire purpose of which was to interrupt this battle of Bayou and use this army to attack the Qin from the side when they're not expecting it. So if the Qin and the Zhao at Bayou are evenly matched, this army is just going to crush them.
Right.
And at the end of this chapter, it's like, oh, we managed to learn of the man's name from a Xiongnu survivor, Riboku, who fucking Riboku.
This absolute shitbag.
This absolute motherfucking awesome man. He is a gorgeous man. Look at him. Look at his hair flowing in the wind.
It's always flowing in the wind. Whenever they show him, it is flowing in the wind. It's never at rest.
It's because the heavens are on his side.
Fuck him.
Fuck you. Riboku is one of the best characters.
Yeah, but he's a shitbag.
He's not a shitbag. He's
a
actually
shitbag.
not. He's actually like a morally good person. He like isn't a bad guy. I mean, he is an antagonist, but he's not a bad guy. You know, he just fights against Jin.
And he was totally okay with Gika's Dono's actions. That's a good guy.
Okay, well, we'll get to that.
He even thanks him for doing it. He even thanks the man for doing it. Fuck you, Evan.
Oh, what the fuck ever. What would you do? Are you kidding me? If you were watching that shit?
I'd be like, don't fucking ruin the sanctity of one-on-one, you piece of shit.
Anyway, this next chapter starts where, you know, at the strategist keep where they're watching everything, and the Zhao army from the north is finally here, and they're here to pick up Riboku. And for some reason, the Qin strategists are like surprised. They're like, "What the fuck? You tricked us, you guys!" But Kaine is like, "See, here's another example where Kaine is like, relax. Riboku-sama does not kill non-combatants. He'll be released the moment the battle's over. That's a good thing. Karyoten could have died if Riboku was a worse person."
Yeah, I guess that's true. I'd rather Karyoten die than somebody else die.
What?
I don't need to explain it. What do you mean? Someone else is going to die. I'd rather Karyoten be dead than that person.
So, at this point, Moten's like, just tell me one thing. Just who on earth is Riboku? How's he related to this battle? And Kaine's like, that's 2 questions, dude. But this is one of my favorite parts in this arc. We're on page 6 and going into 7. And where Kaine's like, you know the Zhao's 3 great heavens? And they're like, yeah, of course I know about them. And she just goes, that's him.
Yeah, which is weird because they call Hoken one of the 3 great heavens, but...
Yeah, but Hoken doesn't do shit.
I know, but now Riboku's all 3 of the 3 great heavens.
Yeah, he's good enough to fucking be all 3 of them, you know?
I mean, yeah, he's probably the smartest person in all of China.
Probably.
Best strategist in all of China.
Definitely. So right after that awesome moment there, it shows where Mobu's at, who's got like less than 1,000 dudes at this point, with his back to the wall, surrounded by the Zhao army. And even Mobu at this point is like exhausted, like he's got arrows coming out of his arm and shit. They're completely surrounded, and there's no way out. His soldiers are basically dead, but Oki comes to the rescue again with his boys. This was the page on page 12 that I wanted to do for the thing, the thumbnail.
Yeah, it's
But
cool
I think
thumbnail.
honestly, the one you made is pretty great. I really like that.
Thanks.
I can't wait to see that on YouTube. But yeah, he comes to the rescue on the 5th day. And this is where Oki and Hoken finally face off against each other. You know, we have this moment where we're like, oh, you've been waiting 5 days for this moment. No, you've been waiting 9 years. And Hoken's got this on page 15. This is a stupid face he's got. That's a dumb face that he makes there.
You're gonna pay for that, mister. He's also JoJo posing on page 16. Crazy.
He is JoJo posing a little bit.
The Zhao. They're into it. They love JoJo over in Zhao.
They do.
Who doesn't?
Araki is originally from Zhao, so that makes sense.
So on the next page, at the beginning of 157, we got like a good overhead shot of the two armies facing off against each other. But doesn't it? The Zhao army is bigger according to the numbers here, but it looks like the Oki army is bigger in this shot. I don't know if it's like on the right side where it's cut off, there's less dudes, but it looks, you know what I'm saying? Like they've got the same width, except the Oki army has like in the center, there's like more depth to it, you know?
Okay, so I just counted, and what we can see here, yes, I agree that block in the middle is definitely bigger. The center army is bigger. But we got, individually, there's like 11 blocks for the Zhao, and there's only 8 if we count that last block as a full block for the Chin. So unless there's not, I mean, obviously there's a 2,000 man difference, so like there's probably not another block after that. But yeah, I see what you're saying. They look similar for sure. I mean, it's only 2,000 men, so in an army of 10 and 12,000, it probably doesn't really look that much of a difference, you know?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. That was just something that I noticed that was a little bit. But at this point, you know, they raised 3 Great Heavens flags, and the Zhao morale goes like fucking crazy. And on the Chin side, it's like the Hisshin unit's like, oh god, this is gonna be good. We're whelmed by the Zhao's pressure. But Oki goes to the front of his troops and starts raising morale himself, and they go even crazier than the Zhao are. Joso's like, the morale's about even is what I want to say, but it seems the Chin have the upper hand. You fucking damn you, Oki, you bastard, man.
Oki is a bastard, man, right?
Joso must be super pissed. At every single point, Oki's just been coming out on top of what fucking Joso's doing.
And we finally, in this chapter, get to see Toe do something. Finally.
I love this shot of Toe on page 11, where he's got his same face on, but he's charging forward. I like his horse's armor. His horse's armor is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So yeah, they charge straight forward and they dodge out of the way of the archers. And this is basically just like a distracting maneuver. I like how on page 16, when Toe charges straight into the formation of spears, their spears are just like bouncing off of the horse armor and bending out of the way.
Something I also didn't notice in this panel originally, if you look right above him, there's 5 spear tips that he cut off.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
He's just so damn quick.
Yeah, I think, what is it? it's not in this chapter, but in like the next chapter, we see the iconic toe attack where it's like circles following behind him from him slashing.
Yeah.
You see that a lot whenever Toe fights.
So apparently in this chapter too, Oki tells Shin and the infantry that he's got an important moment. And yeah, on page 3 of the next chapter.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, because they're like, oh yeah, our left army requires assistance. The cavalry unit can't be stopped. And we get Toe's just this cold, lifeless fucking look on his face.
Wide-eyed. You love to see it. You love to see
and
Toe.
Some of the elite Zhao cavalry is like, oh, what are you doing? You don't even get that. Pole arms is like the basic thing that cavalry uses. And Toe just passes through them going, Faru, Faru.
Oh, Toe.
So basically the Zhao idea is now that Toe's taken out a lot of the archers, the infantry is going to attack. The center is going to charge straight forward. And, the archers are shooting at them, but they do exactly what Toe did with his cavalry and change directions. And they head straight for the center of the Zhao formation.
I love page 6, the random soldiers' faces.
Yeah. So at this point, ooh, my goodness, excuse me. I'm so burpy today.
Gotta stop drinking that sody pop.
So at this point, like the Chin they're getting split up, and the Zhao are like, what fucking idiots are gonna rip and tear them apart, and the Shin unit's like, this is Shin-san, this is, and Shin's like, I know, it's all going as Oki planned it to. And we get a bit of a flashback to like literally 2 minutes ago, and Oki says, the fastest and easiest way of collapsing an information is have them move it himself. So he's using the infantry to bait and lure the Zhao out. And while they're being the bait, the ones that are actually attacking is going to be Oki and his elite cavalry.
Mm-hmm.
Page 16, awesome shot. I love the Zhao that are just terrified on the bottom right there.
Look at the smile on Oki's horse's face.
Oh, that's so funny, dude.
He's like, oh boy, I've been waiting for this.
I'm ready to bite some people.
Page 13. What did I... Oh, yeah, that's that. Okay, never mind. I had in my notes page 13, cool drawings. But I think it was just the line formations.
I like how the line formations almost form their own katakana and kanji.
Yeah. It's funny.
So yeah, I mean, wow, we're already at page 158.
159.
Or chapter 158.
Nope, we're at 159 now.
Oh, are we?
That was like the last panel, wasn't it? 158.
And my website's acting all weird. What
Crazy.
the hell? Why is this not you just go back to it. I mean, this is really starting to ramp up. I fucking love this shit. Hello.
You want one of us to talk while you're trying to
Yeah,
get that loaded?
if you don't mind.
Jesse, do you want to talk or do you want me to talk?
You should talk. You should talk.
Okay.
I think Jesse had to hop off for a second there.
I didn't even see that. Okay. All right. So Oki leads the charge himself, and on page 2 of 159 we get this really probably the most badass shot in this entire arc, in my opinion.
You think so?
Yeah, dude. He's cutting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Probably even more that we can't see. People in half. And normally when someone cuts people in half like this, you don't get blood splatter with the cut. It usually comes after the cut, but this is just like straight gore, and Oki's just smiling the entire time.
Yeah, it finally started to load again, so I see what you're saying. Like we're just at the crescent blood spatter. Yeah, that's pretty dope. Yeah, most of the time it's pretty bloodless, and it's just like, I guess at the moment of impact, right before they get sliced, there's like the like the typical anime chink where they pull out the sword and they're already dead, I like this part too because it shows, when Oki's personally at the lead, his soldiers transform into an army of demon gods.
Yes.
And like his soldiers are just fucking freaking out.
Yeah, I like that they did this with them as well, because I mean we've known this from reading before that when Oki personally leads his army, they're crazy behind him. But they did the same thing with Dukyo. Like when Dukyo was leading his army, we had those really cool shots with his boys behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, there he is.
I wish we got to see more of Dukyo.
We will.
Yeah, we'll see a little bit more of him. Right now, Dukyo's on the on one of the other fronts, like pinning down some other armies.
Yeah, I think he's at the Way front.
So at this point, while Oki's like coming to the rescue, the Mobu army's not doing shit. They're just standing there watching. This shot here of on page 4 on the bottom right of the Mobu army's dudes just sitting there laying dead. That's pretty brutal. But Ryukoku realizes like there's something going on with Oki. Like he doesn't use tactics like this. He's trying to rush this battle as quickly as possible.
Yeah, on page I think I even write page 5. Oki knows. Yeah,
Oki knows something's going on. Choso even recognizes that like he's trying to why is he joining the battle right from the start? Like there's no need to be hasty. We've got our backs to the wall. And he's like, oh wait, hold up. Does he realize that he's like what our plan is?
Right.
And so it goes into another flashback where Choso and Kosen Ryu and Hoken are sitting with Riboku, and it's showing that Riboku has plans upon plans upon plans, And Choso's like, why the fuck are you doing this? Like, what's the point of all these ridiculous things and like hypothetical situations? And he says to him, even if you were to muster them all the way down from the north, I believe Oki should still notice it. And he's like, nope, he won't. After all, is it not true that you two haven't noticed it? And he tells them, a few days ago, I assembled an army of 130,000 in the northern territory, annihilated 200,000 strong Zhongnu army. So it's even more powerful than what Yotanwa thought.
Right.
Which is pretty wild.
It is wild, but he doesn't even, I mean, I guess to move faster, he doesn't even bring that whole army.
No, not whole 130,000. But the point of this flashback is to show that their plan has basically come, even though Choso was like, why the fuck, he had all these different contingencies, but everything that Riboku predicted came true. So it shouldn't be possible for Oki to be aware of this plan. So like, what's the deal? At this point, the Chin Center infantry are going for the Zhao HQ. And even though Oki, it shows in this chapter too, Oki wasn't actually aware of what the Zhao plans were exactly, but when he saw what this terrain looked like, he predicted that there's going to be another army waiting to ambush, because like it's in a belt. So like it started off with a trap for Mobu. The Chin trapped the Zhao again, and then the Zhao trapped the Chin again. And because all the other armies are just holding fast and fighting each other and pinning each other down, there's no way that the Chin are going to be able to reinforce in the case of this trap. So in this situation, Oki's his best idea was to just wrap this up as quickly as possible. He thinks he can. He's confident that he can conclude the battle before the Zhao reinforcements arrive. And we see a little bit of cockiness from Oki because he's like, it seems you're being a bit careless. After all, were I to become serious, something like Choso's army won't even last an instant. But Hoken just kind of disappears at this point. Nobody knows where he went for like half a second. Was there anything I missed in this chapter? I think this is one of my favorite chapters of this whole arc here. Because I
160?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
159?
Well, 159, but yeah, also 160 is pretty dope too.
The only thing I could say is that the only thing they like mention about Oki's idea of what's happening is that he actually doesn't really know their plan.
Right.
He's only just, from everything that's going on, I can assume this is what's going to happen.
Right. Like he doesn't have the actual intelligence, but he can tell. He's inferring what's going to happen.
But
Chosu just has that sense.
Chosu thinks he knows exactly what's happening. Before we go into 160, so I started, when I was reading this chapter 160, every 2 or 3 pages, I wrote a note down. And then at one point I was like, okay, this whole fucking chapter, this is the best chapter. Like this whole, every fucking page of this chapter, something awesome is happening. Some cool information is being given. Like the whole, I wrote at the end of it, like this in my opinion was the best chapter in the entire series so far. Okay.
And I mean, you're totally right. Cause I mean, like it starts off with some pretty awesome action shots. Seiyu's like, oh, the camp's switching formations. You got to stop Oki. And he's like, I know, but what the fuck are we going to do against that?
How are we meant to stop that? And they just have this another, again, every time they show Oki cutting people in half, they have the blood with the cut, not after the cut. It's really cool.
I like how this guy is standing there with the spear and then Hoken just walks by him and grabs the spear out of his hand.
Yep.
Just tosses it at Oki, who dodges out of the way, super in the nick of time, and he just pierces 3 dudes in a row.
So I have in my notes, page 6, Ki Blast. Page 7, Christ. God damn, dude. 3 dudes just get skewered.
Yeah, I wrote Special Beam Cannon in my notes.
Dude, nice.
But you know what I like on page 6, when Oki dodges at the bottom panel there, you can actually see the ghost image of where his head was. You can see, his little
crown
piece. His crown, I guess you could say.
Even the hairs that get cut off of his head, you see floating in the air too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which is really cool.
They did a really good job with that shot. And then on page 8, I have another note let's fucking go, this is finally happening.
Oh my god, it's so hype. The two of them.
I like that Hoken has a unicorn here.
Yeah, his horse's armor is pretty cool, but that's the armor that he's got.
They custom built the helmet for the horse too to go around the horn.
The horn, yeah, exactly.
It's really thoughtful.
Oh my god. That's amazing. On page 10, we get this really cool shot of the 2 sides facing off against each other, where they're fighting again, they're doing their duel. And then the next 2 pages are 2 shots of Hoken and Oki just staring at each other, and all the menacing kanji.
Yeah, this is the way they show Oki. He legitimately looks pissed, not how he in the a picture above where it's his whole body, we get this, he's still got the smile on his face, but in that second shot it doesn't look like he has a smile on his face in that.
Right, he's scowling for sure,
which we don't get to see often with Oki. And then I get on chapter 161. When we get into it, I stopped writing notes and I wrote every page.
Yeah. I like how on this next page too, Oki's like, you've been doing well, Hoken? And he thought, I'm really surprised that, this meeting has been 9 years in the making. He could have sworn Hoken was dead. And all of a sudden he just showed up again at the head of a gigantic army, which is unrealistic because Hoken's what the fuck? What he doesn't lead armies. He's just a Bushin, you know.
Right.
And Hoken's his motivations, you know, by killing you here, I'll indicate to the heavens that I am the Bushin.
Bushi?
And Oki wants to declare that, you know, he'll kill him and bid farewell to the chains of his past. So they both got a lot on the line for this. Basically, the entirety of their mental health is weighed on this moment. Yeah, so chapter 161, the duel finally commences. Oki blasts away Hoken somehow. Like he just like I guess like their blades clash and Hoken just gets blasted away. But his horse gets caught upright. And the hit from Oki's glaive was so hard that it numbs Hoken's hand. On page 7 you see that where he's holding it, it's like vibrating, I guess. And Oki's like, yeah, you're pretty light. You're a lot lighter than I thought you would. In this chapter, we see too the Hishin unit. They're like, you know, Shin's talking to Kyokai, and he's like, "Which is the stronger of the two?" And she's like, "Hoken." And they're like, "Yeah, let's stop fucking fighting. We've earned the right to watch Hoken's final moments. Like, we've earned the right to watch this duel."
Yeah, they say like, this guy killed like half of our friends. We
Yeah.
don't need to keep charging the HQ. Let's abandon our duty and go watch Hoken fight Oki.
Yeah.
And even Hyro's like, and the only order we were given by the general is to be bait.
Yeah, like trying to justify their actions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, all right, fine,
We
let's do
could
it.
go home, so we're actually doing more by staying and watching their fight.
Yeah.
I like how everybody got really pissed off at Kyokai too for saying that Hoken was probably stronger.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you guys asked, you know. But yeah, we get to see a little bit more of the duel. They're swinging at each other like super quick with their glaives. Oki almost kills Hoken. He nearly slashes his fucking face off. But Hoken dodges at the last second, counters with the thrust. So basically, at this point,
we're just getting action shots. They're not even like bothering with text at this point. They're like, yeah, we're just gonna give you a bunch of cool shots.
Yeah, dude. That's a lot of these next few chapters. Just because there's just so much of laying on this duel, you know. They're talking with their actions, you know. But at this point in the duel, it seems that Oki seems to have more might. But this one dude's like, oh yeah, it's like I'm watching the fight between Kyo and Hoken years ago. So like only after drawing out his opponent's abilities will Hoken show his true strength. So basically, at the end of this chapter, Hogan actually strikes back as hard as he can and knocks Oki back, who catches his horse with his glaive.
Oh yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. You got to be pretty fucking strong to be able to prop up a horse like that.
Right.
And Hoken's even saying like, "Yeah, dude, you're still holding back. You're a lot more capable than this right now." This chapter 162 is called Kyo's True Identity. So I wonder what the fuck it's going to be about, huh? Page 3, we have a moment where it's like, we can't even see their movements.
Dude, I wrote down, like, in page 3, I like to imagine that the horses are just standing perfectly still for minutes.
Yeah.
Like, well, oh God, I hope my head doesn't get cut off or some shit.
I was actually going to say the horses are drawn super weird here. Have you guys ever seen that meme where it's like, oh yeah, you can draw a horse from the front, right? And they're like, hold on, let me pull this up. And maybe if
Put it in
and
the
Adam,
put it in the Discord and I'll put it on screen.
because it's really good. It's like um, it's like a meme. It was like a medieval drawing, and it's like from the side it looks like a fat fucking horse at the same time, but from the front it's even worse. Kind of actually looks like Hoken's horse a little bit. I'll try to find it at another point. I can't find it right.
All right.
Damn. So yeah, they're fighting. It's getting fierce, but Oki's getting pushed back a little bit. He's getting cut up. It's Jower cheering for Hoken. So at this point, Choso's thinking like, was it due to the rumors? Like why is Oki here? Why did he accept the duel? Was it because of the rumors from 9 years ago about General Kyo? Who the fuck was Kyo in the first place? So they also make the point that like even if Hoken dies in this duel, the chain of command starts and ends with Choso. Like Hoken's just a good fighter. He may be the commander in chief, but he's just a fighter. Even if he was to slay Oki, if the Chin managed to destroy their base camp, the army is going to be rendered useless. But even if Hoken-sama were to fall, as long as the base camps remained alive, then there's a chance for them to regroup and stuff. Oki's aware of that, so that's why the cavalry troop that's heading for us is so important, and he tells his dudes to be on guard because they're not to be taken lightly. And I love this fucking shot of Toe on page 9. Every time I see him, he's one of my favorite generals in this entire series.
Oh,
Toe's just
for sure.
he's
For
just
sure.
such the dude.
Yeah, it's not until we get 2 characters later. I would say Toe is like there's like 4 Chin generals that are probably like my 4 favorite generals from all of the armies.
Right.
And Toe is easily one of them.
For sure. For sure. I know exactly who you're talking about too.
I would hope so.
We get a little bit of like the Hushin unit kind of oh, excuse me. Sorry guys, excuse me, let us through.
Pregnant woman. Pregnant woman.
Some people in the unit are like, yeah, I kind of feel bad for all the other guys. We're the only ones sitting here watching. And Dene is like, what kind of stupid crap are you talking about, you little fucking shit? He makes the point that, like, if anything, this fucking spot could turn to fighting, like, the worst fighting at any second now. But the only thing that they should be worrying about is General Oki's duel with Hoken, be cheering him on. And Shin's like seeing Oki, and he's like, "Oh my god, he's actually being pushed back, huh?"
He's
and
pretty
Hoken,
cut up.
Yeah, he's pretty cut up. He's got a few wounds on his face, on his arms, and shit, on his shit. So Hoken makes the point that like the pain from the wounds of his faded, but the injuries on his soul from losing to Oki are still like, really, like he's still fucked up about losing. Doesn't matter how long it's been. I like this on page 13 where he's like, "Oh yeah, it should be the same for you, and that's why you're here. Rage is power. You should also remember the sight of that person's dick." And he comes within like a fucking 2 hairs of just murdering Hoken.
Yeah, I love the first panel on page 14.
Yeah, where you see his reflection in the blade.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Hoken gets a nice little scar there, nice little cut on another one to complement the original scar. I like how also his horse is like, like he somehow hurts.
Oh, his horse did get pushed back there. You can see like the middle panel. His horse is like going sideways for a second.
True. But Oki and Oki is like, yeah, I'm the same way. Like that shit still fucked me up too, and I'm still not over it. But then it shoots back to Kanyo, and I guess Yotanwa already left. And they're talking to Shogun Kun and Sei are talking about General Kyo. and why there's so much secrecy around Kyo, and it's due to the King Sho making a royal decree. And Shogunkun's like, sorry, I should have fucking said something already. And it comes, he tells Sei that Kyo was actually a woman, and also the one that Oki was going to marry. Now, we're going to get into this a little bit, but this is a little bit weird, don't you think?
Because of the age thing?
Yeah, I don't know if, like, Oki is supposed to be only, like, a few years older than Kyo is, but in this next chapter, it shows, a little bit about, like it shows the backstory between all of them under, Shogunkun's perspective.
Here's the thing. So because I know the panel you're talking about where like Kyo and Oki are like training together, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that panel, let's say Oki is 16 and Kyo is 6.
Okay, when you put it like 10 years difference, it's not much of a deal, but like still.
And it's not like he was macking on her,
Yeah. But we'll get to that in a bit. In chapter 163, we get to see what Shobunkun looked like when he was like a young lad. We also get to see what Oki looked like when he was a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
He looks exactly the same, except his beard is shorter. On page 9 of this chapter, we get to see like what Oki's army looked like back in the day. And I wish we got to see some more of these guys because they look fucking badass.
Yeah.
Even Oki's horse is terrifying the regular Chin soldiers. But included in his retinue of guys is this young girl. He's like, there's a woman. No, wait, she's still only a child, which is weird because in the next page, it's kind of, I guess they're kind of checking her out,
Yeah.
And like, one of the soldiers is like, you better not get any fucking weird ideas. Another guy from another unit tried to flirt with her, but he got fucking murdered. And on the bottom right, he's got like 7 swords. And they're like, oh yeah, the fucking was killed by that chick, and he's like, no, Oki killed him. So a little bit of backstory. Here's the panel you were talking about, where there's like a young Kyo, and like an older Oki. So Kyo's a child of the servant in Oki's household, but she grew up watching Oki become like an accomplished warrior, and she wants to emulate him, And they're like, oh, she's a fucking strong warrior. That's bullshit. But later on, like literally the next page, she took out the general and vice general of the enemy that they were fighting, and she walks into the camp with their fucking heads in her hand. Like their faces. They're just So Oki's like, no, nicely done, Kyo. And she's like, even though she's like completely bloodied, she's covered in gore. So Shogunkun's saying like, he's gonna partake in a lot more battles besides Oki's army, and he's gonna see how talented Kyo is for warfare. She calls him Gramps.
Yeah, I wrote that in my notes too.
Even though he's like not really that much older than Oki is, know.
Right.
But she's like a truly prodigious at warfare.
Yeah, this page, page 15, she looks like Kyo.
Yes.
In this panel.
Yeah, I agree. She really does. She also looks like another character that we haven't even met yet. That's like a few arcs.
Oh,
I don't even want to say.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
I
think I know you're talking about at least.
Yeah, probably do. So, there's a point where Oki calls up Shobunkun and he tells him like, General Kirikou just died. So Oki's now the commander-in-chief of this army. And he's leaving Kyo to Shobunkun because he's always there. He's kind of like the he like anytime he makes the point that Kyo's only able to do half the shit that she's able to is because Shogunkun's always like behind her trying to like wrapping stuff up,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here it is. The reason Kyo is able to act in such a reckless manner is because you're always there to handle the little details. So it shows, they have a pretty good working relationship.
I even like too that Shobukun's like, stop, and Oki's like, I'm not the one that said it. Kyo
Yeah.
is the one that said it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Oki's like,
Well, I like how it shows, Kyo saying it, and she's like,
Right.
that stubborn and crude geezer always there from.
yeah.
And Oki's like, she said that.
So, Oki's like, he, even though Shogunkun's pretty cruel or crude, he's wise though, but he's also trustworthy. So that's why he's able to tell Shobunkun the secret of Kyo, which is basically, he goes into the story saying that like while the King Show is out at war, there's another war going on in the capital, in the royal harem, which houses a bunch of women dedicated to serving the king. And there's a power struggle because no men are allowed to be in there. So there's basically nothing policing all these women. And basically, like if one woman has a kid from the king and is, catches his favor, they're probably gonna die because it's just lawless, and everybody wants to get his attention.
Right.
Um,
That panel bottom right is
nasty.
something.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking gross. It's fucking sad. We get to see a little bit more of the royal harem later on in the series as well. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, the royal harem plays an important role later, for sure.
But basically, he tells the story about there's one girl who had a baby, but she was just like a soldier's child, and her baby was Kyo, and the girl was was the daughter of one of Oki's father's war buddies. So what happened was they took Kyo in so that she wouldn't be killed. It wouldn't, it wouldn't look right if all of a sudden there was just another, like they had just suddenly adopted a daughter, so they made her the daughter of a servant. So basically, Kyo is royalty, and neither of them know that, either King Sho or Kyo. And in the next chapter, it shows the meeting of King Sho and Kyo, because he shows up, and this is actually, I think, the first time we see his full face. Oh no, we saw him as like an older guy, like previously in one of the past few arcs when Oki and Sei were speaking.
Yeah, but I think this is like the first time we get like a really clear image of him, and I don't think he was as young as this.
No, he definitely wasn't.
You know,
That was
first-
years in the future.
The other time we see him, did we see his whole face, or doesn't he have something over his eyes?
Yeah, he had like that thing over his eyes, and that's when they were calling him the God of War.
You're right. You're totally right. I forgot about that.
He does have this really cool Aztecian helmet on, though.
Techian?
Aztec.
Oh, Aztecian. Yeah. I didn't hear the as. So, King Sho has heard all the deeds of this fucking female soldier from Oki's retainers, and he wants to meet her. And as soon as they come face to face, they have like a moment, and they recognize that they're father and daughter somehow.
Yeah, they could just tell.
Yeah, they just knew. And he wasn't able to recognize her birth because it would just cause like a crazy ass like situation, like politically, and set a weird precedent about how more babies will be smuggled out of the harem and shit. And Kyo even understands, like she understands, like that, she gets it. So she started wearing a mask, so it would conceal the matter of her gender, for one, but also just because everybody was forbidden to speak of her identity. And her and Shobunkun speak about it, and he's like, yeah, you shouldn't really be. You could stop fighting. You're a woman, There's always something else you could do besides fighting. And she's like, nah, that's fucking stupid. I'm not just some servant girl, you know? She's going to become a great general of the heavens. So she's like a proto Shin, you know?
Yeah, I see a lot of similarities between Oki and Kyo and Shin and Kyokai.
Yeah, totally. Totally,
Especially
dude.
later on.
But Kyo's reasoning to become a general is because she asked Oki, like, hey, if I conquer 100 castles, will you take me as your wife? and I guess like teenager Oki was just like, very well then. Oh, hi, Boo.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Do you hear her?
No.
Boo. Ah, poor thing. So, it didn't take. So she gets promoted to general, and once she became general, that like shit just started snowballing for her, because she was at the head of all these crazy ass armies. Her style of warfare was just to insult the enemy until they've just been completely destroyed relentlessly. Um, she eventually gets relegated to the position of one of Chin's six because she's just as powerful as the rest of them. I like the on page 13 of this chapter. I really like this shot of King Sho appointing her as one of the member of the great generals, where it shows King Sho sitting there, or rather standing there in front of her, and she's like crying. I just think that's a nice little moment there.
Yeah, for sure. I also like the image they have of her on the bottom panel, like above the city walls.
Yeah, with the spears all around her.
It's pretty badass.
Yeah. So
I want to point out real quick on page 6, we see at the bottom Shobun-kun walks in on Kyo naked, and then on the next page that we're on now, page 14, he does it again.
Yeah. I guess this just, I don't know. It's warfare, huh?
Yep, it's naked warfare.
Naked warfare. That's a term for fucking, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
But yeah, they walk in on her and she's got this wound, and Oki's like, "Oh yeah, I used to treat your wounds. Like, don't worry about it." They have this little conversation, and Oki says, like, he's risen through the ranks like crazy, so he's kind of like lost the freedom of being like a regular general. He tells her that like the next battle he's going to be the vice general and she's going to be the head general, and she's like, what? And it turns out, there's only one city left. This is it. This is the end. Like, Oki actually remembered and was actually counting, and this is Bayou. They're actually at Bayou, which is crazy.
Right.
I forgot about that, where it's literally like they're at the same place.
Everything comes full circle.
Mm-hmm. But this next chapters, it's just showing the events of the night where Hoken showed up, and kills what's her face, Kyo.
What's her face?
Yeah. Good old what's her face.
On page 3, it has him like standing over her body, and I guess that's Shobunkin right there, like fucking freaking out.
Yeah.
In the center right there, that's Shobunkin, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And Oki's just kind of channeling his rage, remembering that. He's getting back to the time where he was at back then, remembering that, so he can fight Hoken now. We see a little bit of the fight between Kyo and Hoken, and she actually like fucks him up pretty good. Like, she stabs him in the shoulder, she stabs him in the arm, but he like gets her by the foot and just bifurcates her.
Yeah, well, they said too, the older guy who was recalling that this is reminiscent of the fight between Hoken and Kyo.
Yeah.
Even says, like, at that time when Oki defeated him, he had already been weakened by Kyo, so Hoken
Right.
might have the upper hand here. And
But here's the thing, though.
that's a
Hoken, I
load of
believe,
crap.
yeah, Hoken actually mentions later on that
Yes,
like
he does.
it's not due to the wounds. It was just because Oki was so fucking above him.
Right.
This shot of Hoken on page 11 is pretty awesome, and he's crawling away. He's just all bloodied up.
Yeah, they shot this dude full of arrows. Look, on page 10, right before that.
Yeah.
Covered in arrows. And this dude wakes up like, oh, I'm good. I'll just crawl. I'll crawl away and I'll stop bleeding somehow.
He looks like a fucking slug with a trail of blood. I guess it's I think it's because of his chi, I guess.
Yeah,
I think
right. No, I get it. I'm just saying. Like, I even wrote my notes like, how is he fucking alive?
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, but
And then Emperor Palpatine shows up and he's like, he's still alive.
the dead speak. The dead speak.
Oh God, I wasn't. Yeah,
Fuck you, JJ.
I was actually referencing when he finds Anakin.
Right.
Mustafar.
Right.
But the dead speak is a whole different podcast.
Can I just say real quick? There's a lot of split with the Star Wars community. Oh, episode 8 ruined it. Oh no, episode 9 ruined it. They both ruined it. Both of those movies fucking sucked.
Yeah, Rogue One was definitely the best one that came out of the
Rogue One was-
movies. And it's
Rogue
not
One
even a
was the
part of the
best.
trilogy.
Episode 7 was
fine.
pretty enjoyable.
Yeah,
it was fine,
it was
right?
fine.
Like
I had
understand.
my gripes with it, but I thought it was, out of the 3, the best.
It's definitely the best because it's episode 4.
Yeah, that's the thing. And like I understand like the gripe people have with it is that it was just nostalgia bait. You know, like it was basically episode 4.
Mhm.
Like it was just, there are issues with it, but me personally, I'm able to put those aside because it's fucking episode 7, right? Like this movie has been like over 30 years in the making. Of course it's going to be just fucking nostalgia bait. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But episode 8 sucked. Episode 9 sucked. I think episode 9 was kind of worse than episode 8 was.
I have still not seen episode 9, but dude, after watching, like the first time I watched episode 8, I was like, man, that wasn't good. I should watch that again and just like really double check to see how bad this was. And then the second time through, I was like, wow, this was fucking bad.
We all saw it in theaters together, right?
We saw the first time I saw it was in theaters with you guys.
Yeah, because there was that dude in front of us that was like drunk as fuck, and he's like, "Whoa, dude!" The only good part about that movie was that part where the cruiser goes into light speed and hits the.
Yeah, I mean that looked awesome.
Right.
That was like the only good part. The entire time where they went to Atlantic City sucked
Oh
ass.
my god, yeah, that was so bad.
Dude, the best thing about that
and
is
pointless.
I heard this on another podcast. The kid was talking about how they're like, hey, this planet has horses and slaves. Let's free the horses.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. They get helped by these fucking children. And what do they do for them? Nothing. They feel bad for the animals, the alien animals that are like racehorses. What the fuck, dude? So stupid.
So
stupid.
So many bad things. That entire subplot was absolutely pointless. And
it actually made everything worse.
It made everything worse. Honestly, the captain lady, should have just done her goddamn plan from the beginning and people would have lived. More people would be alive. If she was just gonna kill herself, why not just do it from the get-go so everyone else can live? You had no other plan. It's not like, okay, this is plan B if this doesn't work out. There was no other plan.
Like, guys, they're tracking us through hyperspace. How about this? You guys all get on the other ships that still have hyperspace fuel. I'll fucking shoot this at the Star Destroyers. When I do that, you guys hop out of here and go.
Right. Which is what they did eventually after fucking General Akbar dies.
Yeah, fucking stupid.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
dumb. Bad movie. Goddamn fucking bad movie. And I haven't seen
really
9,
is.
but from everything I've heard, it's not good either.
It's always
It's basically the Avengers Endgame.
I have not seen
Dude,
Avengers Endgame
don't
either.
get me started on when Ray says I am Iron Man. Don't
Yeah.
get me started.
Yeah. All right. Well,
It's always funny. We do need to get off this topic, but it's always funny when I talk about Star Wars with someone and realize how much I can talk about Star Wars. Like I
Yeah.
don't realize it until I'm actually doing it.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, dude. Especially when it comes to like the pissed off nature of the sequel trilogy.
Oh yeah.
You know, like just because they bungled it up. Fuck you, Disney. If you're listening to this, suck my fucking truck nuts, dude.
My goddamn truck nuts.
Fuck you, Bob Iger, and fuck you, George Lucas, for selling it to Disney. Nah, you can't blame him. He got like $1 billion for that shit. I would have sold it too. All right, but anyway, where the fuck were we at? Yeah, Hoken dragging himself off like a bloody slug.
Slug.
Bloody fucking slug. Oki's utilizing his wrath to fight against Hoken. And the duel continues. And as they're fighting, some Zhao soldiers get in the way and they get sliced up by Oki.
Mm-hmm. Page 14 is really cool too, by the way.
It's awesome.
Page 14, yeah. Yeah, with the two of them clashing like that.
Yeah, with the glaives bending.
Mm-hmm.
Very awesome.
Yeah, I guess both Zhao and Shin arm themselves at Spirit Halloween because they all have like weird bendy shit going on.
Jesus Christ.
So, you know what? Actually, on page 16, it says, recovering from my wounds took 3 years alone. After that, I once again delved back into the deep mountains to train for another 6 years. Then appeared a messenger from a man named Riboku, which this is a little bit like fucking hundreds and hundreds of chapters later. This is a bit of a retcon because they show how Riboku and Hoken actually met, and it wouldn't be like, oh yeah, a man named Riboku sent me a messenger. Like they knew each other.
Right.
Adam, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right?
I know what you're saying.
So that's a little bit weird. When I was rereading this, I was like, that's definitely a retcon. But also, this was like fucking 15 years ago, so I'm not too pissed off about it.
Right, I'll let it slide. It's fine.
But Oki's like, he's using his anger. He's using his anger to strike Hoken down.
Jesus.
And the weight of his blows is astounding.
Yeah, I love that panel, dude, on page 17 there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That you just read.
So, Hoken's at a loss, and Oki is saying, ever since he was 13, he's fucking lost tens of thousands of dudes and buried hundreds of thousands of dudes, and all of these, the experiences and hopes and wishes all come together, and that all dwells on his shoulders. So, like a hermit like Hoken, who spends his life hiding in the mountains, has no idea what any of that means. And that's why his blows are like so fucking strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you fucking loser.
Which is actually kind of ties back to what he was telling Shin previously. Like when he met up with them and was like, "Oh, you guys fucking lost a lot of dudes. It sucks, right?"
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He brings this up actually in some of previous chapters as well. Like to be a general means that you are seeing all these people to their deaths.
Right.
To a general is the path of sacrifice.
Right.
And Hoken's just basically like, what a fucking waste of breath. And this page of Hoken on page 2 of chapter 166 is pretty awesome.
It is pretty sweet.
He's sitting there on his horse. So yeah, we get a little bit of a counter to that from Hoken, where he's basically saying the only thing the dead become is dust.
Mm-hmm. I
And
wrote that in my notes.
Mm-hmm. You wrote mm-hmm.
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 Mm-hmm. I'm reading it right now. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So to count, that was his counter to what Oki was saying, and he strikes him. But I love this shot too of Oki on page 4 blocking this. doing it backwards, straight up JoJo posing too.
Oh yeah.
Even his right arm, it's kind of drawn a little bit fucking dumb. Like, because he's got his one arm blocking, like holding it, but then
and the other one, I never even noticed that other arm underneath.
his right arm's like, I guess, holding it back too. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not able to see eye to eye about fucking anything. Next few pages, we get a little bit more of like what's going on in the rest of the battle. Like on the right side, there's the duel. On the left side, the Qin cavalry's charging into the Zhao HQ. We get a little bit more of fucking Toe slicing up.
Yeah.
Swoop, 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 swoop. Just
Yeah, just these ringlets of death following behind him.
Mm-hmm.
He did this last time too. I love how everybody who's getting killed has their own little speech bubble.
Yeah. But Choso's looking at this like, what the fuck? To think there was a monster like this in Oki's army. What the fuck?
On page 7, yeah, that same panel you're talking about. The bottom panels, there's this guy who is like definitely a Toe follower.
Yeah,
Because he's even got the same stash as Toe.
I noticed that.
He even laughs like Toe. He goes, fa ha ha.
He's got that Mandark laugh. Ha 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 ha.
Ha 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 ha. Do you guys remember that one Dexter's Lab episode where everything Mandark would do, it would make the noise of his laugh?
No.
Like
Right.
he got into the car and turned it on, and the ignition was like, turn it, turn it. Oh man.
Yeah. That's great.
So basically, Toe gets to Choso's main camp, and right before we see the conclusion of that, it goes right back to fucking Oki and Hoken's fight. And Oki's kind of on the back pedal, and Hoken's like, yeah, I'm better than him in basically every way, but why can't I beat him? What the fuck? He can't cut him down. And Kyokai even says, like, yeah, she gets where Hoken's coming from. Like, emotions aren't needed. People who walk the martial path don't need anything like that. He's purged all his emotions in the pursuit of his strength. They've lost basically every desire besides to become strong. She thought that there would be no one capable of besting someone like that. So why is Oki this fucking strong? And she's coming to the realization too, as to why he's so badass. We get this awesome shot on page 12 of Oki slamming down on Hoken. Yeah, this is a lot of just action shots and reaction shots. I love this shit. This duel is amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
Hoken can't do anything against him.
Yeah, pretty much at this point, Oki's just slamming on top of him and pretty much has him.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hoken runs away slightly, or
yeah, like he falls back a little bit.
Right on page 15, because that top panel kind of looks like he's moving away, but I think it's more so the reaction to what's about to happen.
Right, Oki's kind of letting him off. And what's about to happen is that the Zhao reinforcements are about to show up on page 16. Really dope shot, honestly.
Yeah.
Of the Zhao Northern Army showing up, and on the bottom left we see like all of the formations of the other armies are all sorts of fucked up. And Riboku on the last page, looking like a beautiful man. God damn it! I didn't want to get to this point.
I know. It had to be done.
It had to be done. So chapter 167. Oh, what's up, Jess?
Well, I just wanted to say that you pointed out like the bottom left of page 16. The Zhao army is just fucking enormous, dude. It's so much bigger than both of the armies that were already there.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And
well, it's easily double the size, and now that people have been dying, it's probably even more so.
Yeah.
I know that it doesn't like really matter, I guess, but I feel like Oki could have just Could have just killed Hoken, right?
Yeah, he could have. Certainly could have.
Yeah, like I like on page 14, everyone's like, "Do it!" Right? And
Yeah.
it's just like he doesn't do it. It's like, "Fuck! You should have done it."
Yeah.
Even Shin's like, "What are you doing? Why aren't you doing it?"
Oh man. Damn it. You guys are totally right. Like he should have just fucking swung that glaive down on his head and ended it, but plot, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Hoken gets plot armor
That's
too.
basically it.
Again, though, on the first page of the next chapter, 167, we see an aerial shot, and it's fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it looks like the whole 130,000 Northern Zhao army is basically there.
Right.
Um,
Army. They said it's only 40,000 people too, so it's like fucking wild how big that looks.
So it shows here a little bit of like the thinking of Oki, and Oki was estimating that they would take another half days of travel to get there. And even Oki's predictions of where the armies were hidden were spot on. But the difference was that the northern cavalry of Riboku were just super fucking strong because they've always been fighting with the horsemen of the Xiongnu in the north. So they are also accustomed to riding horses like pretty well. So their mobility was ridiculous.
Right. They're pretty much on par, if not a little bit less than the horsemen of the north's, riding capabilities. They're able to just go through all that terrain straight.
Riboku also realized and did some research then that Oki had never done anything against the northern state of Zhao's armies. Mostly he was in the central plains. He never fought with the Xiongnu either. And on page 3, I love and hate it, but having realized all this for the first time, Oki began to sweat slightly.
I think it's pretty apparent that Oki has never, maybe a few times in his campaigning, has ever been in a losing situation like this.
Right. And the Hishin unit and the rest of Oki's army are just sitting there shocked. Don't know what to do. They are like baby, don't know what to do. And they raised Riboku's Three Great Heavens flag, which sends the Zhao morale into another crazy ass fever pitch. Even the rest of the Zhao army is like, what the fuck is going on? Who is that? Because only Choso and like Kosan Ryu knew about the reinforcing Zhao army. So Riboku's armor's roughly 40,000 men, like you said before, Adam. And Oki's army only has maybe 6,000 dudes.
Right.
And their morale is just completely shattered from like the infantry to the crack cavalry. And they're basically dead. Like they're in like such a crazy spot. Like they're surrounded on all sides by walls. There's really nothing they can do. And the Zhao are like demanding like what the fuck is going on, but Choso's like, I'll explain later. Don't worry, dude. So yeah, this is where we see Gika, like you were saying.
Fucking hate this guy.
This fucking guy. This fucking guy sucks ass.
Fucking guy.
It is the first time though that they mention they say that he is one of China's 10 bows.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. We don't
cool.
see too many of the bows, but we get to see two people who later on get to rival the 10 bows.
Those two are awesome.
So Kaine is like, isn't this fucking overkill? Like, we didn't need to go this far against the fucking Xiongnu. And Gika's like, what are you, stupid? Like, this guy's worth more than 50 cities.
Right.
And she's like, what? No fucking way. Which is kind of weird considering Oki's so infamous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like
Riboku,
Kaine doesn't even fucking know who Oki is. It's like kind of weird. Yeah,
which is ridiculous. And Riboku makes the point that like if they take the great general's head, then the loss of this Chin's prestige and morale will rise high enough to threaten the other states.
they have to attract people to Zhao, you know.
Mhm.
And the easiest way to do that is to show off their might by killing the great general. Also, getting rid of a troublesome enemy in Oki. On page 12, the Ribaku army starts to do their wave attacks, which is really sad. It's really fucking sad, man.
Yeah,
They start attacking.
Ryukoku in the bottom there just shitting himself.
Could you imagine
Um,
having to draw the horses like that?
No.
Like
God damn.
that many horses, like looking the exact same over and over and over, with people on top of them.
Yeah, dude. I don't know how you do that, honestly.
Yeah,
Like,
I'd lose my mind.
It doesn't
seriously.
really look copied and pasted at all.
It's
No,
not.
it definitely does.
If you look at the horses, each one has a different face.
Yeah, so
I guess that's why you have a fucking team of students to draw for you, you know.
Seriously.
But yeah, so once they start charging in, the Chin cavalry like swarm in to protect Oki. Oki, you know, it says here for Oki was well versed in reading to the future, is all the more clear what the fuck is going to happen. But Oki's just smiling, and he mentions like, yeah, we've been outplayed, dude. It's been 20 years since I found myself in such a shitty situation. He's like, it's truly a long time since it's enough to make the blood start boiling over. And Oki's troops are looking at him, and they're smiling too. So like
Except
it
that one
seems,
guy in the middle. That one guy in the middle is not smiling. He's like, "You fucked me,
yeah.
Oki. You fucked me on this."
I have a family, Oki. But this is important though, because if Oki's not showing that he's not giving up, then the rest of the armies, you know, takes a little bit of solace in that.
Yeah, they're
But
gonna
before
rally
they're able to,
behind him.
yeah, before they're able to do that though, Hoken shows back up and he's like, "Where are you fucking going?" You know, like we're what we're doing is not over yet. Chapter 168, the very first page, Oki's still on his horse and he's still got his fucking arm on his waist.
This is actually our thumbnail picture.
oh, nice.
So what they were saying before about how the fighting at this spot will become like some of the hardest fighting becomes true, and it comes into huge melee with cavalry and infantry. Shin starts chopping up people. It's been a few chapters since we've seen Shin chop up some dudes. Page 3, I love Kyokai jumping up and just doing like this fucking barrel roll, slicing this dude's head off. The Hishin unit, I guess, were able to, you know, catch their breath a little bit from the previous night. We got Ryusen smashing a dude's head in. We got Hyro grabbing this dude's spear and slashing him in the throat. Fucking Sugen. Yeah, Sugen. You're doing a fucking the Hishin unit.
Yeah, like Wolverine in the X-Men movies or something.
Yeah. I'm the motherfucking Wolverine, motherfucker. This guy is like, he holds on to Shin's legs. He's like, "Don't be fucking cocky. You're gonna die, you son of a bitch." And Shosa fucking stabs him. He's just like, "Don't touch the Captain Crunch." Why do they spell it like Captain like that? I guess because just Shosa's like just like a laid back kind of dude. Don't
He's
touch
always
the Captain.
smiling, you know.
Shosa's high.
Shosa's high as fuck. He looks
Don't touch my
blazed as
cat,
hell.
Crunch.
Hands off my Captain Crunch.
So even though everything is fucking going bad and like every second is precious, the Hoken and Oki are fighting, and even Oki's like, "I've not encountered an obstacle more grueling than this." And even if he retreats, he'll keep chasing him, and he has no choice but to kill Hoken. He got no choice but to cut you down from head on right here on page 8.
Oh yeah.
And he slashes Hoken a little bit on the shoulders. But it's not enough, unfortunately. They're getting swamped by the Zhao.
On page 10, Geeka's like, yep, it's my fucking turn. I'm so overjoyed that he's starting to get goosebumps. I'm starting to get goosebumps
I'm getting
from this fucking
goosebumps.
shit. Jesse, you getting goosebumps?
Mm-hmm.
Now Jesse calls them
Yeah.
goose pimples because he's weird.
I was gonna say, what the fuck did the Brits call that?
Goose pimples.
I've got goose pimples all over me bum.
And in it.
In it.
So Geeka's saying, like, out of all the generals in China, there's no one who is more detested by the people than Oki, just because he's so fucking. He's touched all 6 states, and he's like known to all 6 people, and that they want him to die. And they all fucking hate him because he's just killed so many people. But at the same time, it's proof that Oki is a hero because everybody knows who he is. And the only reason why he's gonna, the story of Oki is gonna end is because Riboku's a monster who surpasses even Oki.
Wrong, but go on.
I don't know. I don't know.
Riboku,
I don't know.
His accomplishments aren't even close to Oki's at this point. You can't fucking say that. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, he hasn't like lived as long as Oki has for sure.
Well,
Not nearly
it's
as
the
experienced.
typical GOAT debate in most sports.
But if
a lot of people argue that so and so is the GOAT. Like, okay, for example, it's like saying LeBron James is the GOAT instead of Michael Jordan.
right,
LeBron James, amazing, super accomplished, but when people look at GOATs, you have to take into account how much they have done over the course of their career. It's hard to argue who is better than who when someone like Riboku is young in his career and Oki has been on the battlefield for 20 some odd years.
But here's the thing, though: LeBron James and Michael Jordan never played against each other. These two are going off against each other, and Riboku's coming out on top.
Yeah, it's not Oki's fault though.
It's mostly Mobu's fault.
Yeah, it is.
It's fucking actually 100% Mobu's fault. Fuck. Okay, so moving forward, Gika's saying like, oh yeah, there's been a bunch of heroes in the past. General Rempa in the original Zhao 3, Oki, Hakuki, and the other Chin 6. It's just eras ending and new eras starting, and the curtains to a brand new era is about to start. And Ginka's like getting a fucking hard on from being here because he's seeing history in motion, which I get.
Yeah, and even though he's a scumbag.
And he wants to leave his mark on this moment, even if he has to besmirch his honor. And Riboku's like, yeah, thanks. You got my gratitude. Like, you got to do what you got to do. So these guys try to get in the way of Hoken and Oki's fight in the beginning of the next chapter, and they get murked. Oki understands that he's basically on the border between life and death. Like, he's not gonna like it's a toss of a coin if he's gonna survive this. Gika shows up. Actually, we get to see a little bit of the Choso base camp finally, and Choso's running away. And he's really happy that it's finally happening, that Oki's gonna die, but his only regret is that he's not going to be able to witness it because Toe's right on his heels, about to kill him. I love the look on Toe's face in this panel where he's like definitely stressed the fuck out right now, and Choso's going to be waiting in the afterlife for Oki. So they take out the base camp of Choso. Which at this point doesn't really matter because the reservists, and the reinforcements are going to be able to take over from here. Some more fighting.
I guess Oki had knocked Hoken unconscious, which only made him more unshackled. And Riboku makes the point where it's like, path seekers veered off the path is a contradiction. It's only when Hoken fights selflessly that his original form is revealed. So long as he can achieve that state, once again, he should be invincible. So that's why knocking him unconscious actually kind of made everything worse for Oki. And Oki admits like he can't think of a single fucking thing to do. He can't do. I mean, he's fighting Hoken, and like, there's nothing he can do about it. But the only thing he can is kind of like to jack up the Chin morale. And he's saying like, if the enemy number is tenfold, your duty is to simply kill 10 Zhao per person. You know, that's all they can do. You're not allowed to fall until you kill 10 enemies. And that really fucking makes the Chin go into overdrive. And they just start murdering people left and right. Even Riboku's taken back, and they're like, oh wow, they've somehow found another surge of courage.
I think it's pretty great that even through all this, Oki is still able to raise the morale.
Yeah, dude. It just goes to show like his reputation as a like commander is like that high, and he knows exactly what he's doing. Like his influence and his experience are like, you can't trump it, you know. But unfortunately, they still have thousands and thousands and thousands of men on the Zhao side, so they send out their second wave. They're doing their best to stop the Zhao from getting to Oki and Hoken's fight. Hoken's like, you know, still fighting pretty hard, but at this point, Hoken's basically on the back pedal, where Oki breaks his glaive and slashes him again, basically the same spot. And he's about to land the killing blow when he gets fucking shot in the back
by a scumbag.
And fucking Hoken's able to stab him in the chest with his broken glaive. And everybody sees this and starts freaking out. This is the worst. I mean, the shot on page 18 is just fucking really sad. Oki is such a good character.
It's a beautiful shot, but goddamn does it suck.
Yeah, this really blows. And he was so fucking close to killing him, too. Ugh, god damn it.
This is where everyone finally realizes, like, oh, fuck. We're gonna lose.
And Shin was really close to stopping him, too. Like, he was like really, really close. Also, real quick, at the beginning of this chapter, you know, when it shows that, it has one of Oki's soldiers saying, like, don't let Giga shoot that arrow. And it's like, how the fuck do you know who this guy is? You know? What the fuck?
Well, he is one of the 10 bows, so he's got to have some renown, but I get what you're saying.
I guess.
It's kind of hard to point that person out in a battle, especially like an archer that isn't really wearing any distinguishing clothes or armor. I get what you're saying. But he is a 10 bow, so he's definitely, his name is, you know, one of the 10 best archers in all of China.
I mean, maybe if he had a flag that said, like, Tenbo Gika,
right,
I would get it, but I don't know. But he says, like, yeah, even if I'm condemned by the entire land, you won't call me underhand, would you, Oki? And Shin just, like, fucking slices him. And
yeah, we get this really awesome shot of Shin crying, but at the same time, the next panel is him full rage slicing him down.
He kind of looks like Oki in this shot.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
The Oki army is like fucking shocked. Hoken says like, "Oh fuck, someone interfered. This is why I think warfare is the worst. But this is your arena, Oki. This is your loss. You don't have any excuses, you know." Dude, this sucks.
Yeah.
And you know, the Oki army is about to give up, but Oki, and you know, with some of his last breath, is like, "I'm astonished you're gonna let others decide your defeat. Why are you getting rid of your weapons? You know, you're part of the Oki army. you know you're never going to give up until you die, right? And they recognize, like, you know what, he's fucking right. You're fucking right. And this isn't the end of the line for Oki, for Oki's army, you know. Even though Oki may die, they still have life to live. And Oki says, like, you know, before I die, you might not believe me, but let me prove that I'm going to cut down Hoken first. And he goes to slash him, but Hoken just kind of catches it. But Oki's strength at this point is apparently still so much more than Hoken's, is that he's able to one-handed just slice him down. Oki kind of talks about how, you know, a general is the same as 100 or 1,000 man commander, nothing more than a position or a rank, but only a few are able to achieve it because they've overcome 1,000 brushes with death, and their deeds are able to help them arrive at that destination. But a general obtains responsibility and the greatest of honors. That's why and their existence carries so much weight. Hence, a general shines to such a degree that they are dazzling. Dude. And on page 13, Hogan's like, "What the fuck are you?" And he's like, "Do you even need to ask? A great general of the heavens." Such a good moment.
Yeah.
Such a good moment, dude.
This is an awesome panel. One of the best.
I love how slowly Oki was cutting into Hoken. Like, he was saying all of these things while just slowly pushing down into Hoken's fucking neck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Once again, not really sure how Hoken's fucking alive. He's been cut in the neck in 3 different spots. So, not really sure
honestly,
why he's still even breathing at this point.
Yeah, like, he's definitely cut his carotid artery.
That's
right
what I'm
there.
saying, right there.
Like,
that's
on page
it.
12, on page 12 on the center right panel, like, that's a death blow right there. You can't come back
his
from that.
glaive is like at least an inch or two into his neck, right there.
Yeah, dude.
So,
and
this fucking plot armor.
Yeah, basically. But Hogan's about to, you know, he's about to pull out his glaive and fucking kill Oki, land the finishing blow, but Toe comes to his aid and blocks it.
Toe looks pissed. You can even see the
Toe
veins
looks
in his
fucking
eyes.
angry as hell. And Oki's about to fall over, but Shin helps him. and his soldier's like, "Don't touch the Lord, you fucking scum! Get off the horse!" And Shin's like, "Shut the fuck up! I'm the lightest one here. Leave it to me, you fucking assholes!"
Right.
And Toe kind of takes command. He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna charge the enemy base camp to distract them. Bodyguards and Heshin unit escort the Lord to the left at full speed." Shin's like, "Are we gonna be able to do that?" And Toe's like, "I don't know, but the chance should happen." And that chance is Mobu, who breaks out in typical Mobu fashion, just smashing people up.
Yeah, it's a cool shot of Mobu, the side panel,
yeah,
and the bottom panel.
Like, even Mobu's fucking pissed off that Oki died, and I think it's because he recognizes that this is all his fucking fault, you know. Next chapter starts off the Riboku's base camp gets word that Oki's dead. And Riboku's like, "Are you fucking sure Oki's dead?" And they're like, "No, but he had a pulse, but his glaive was thrust right through his chest." And they start getting, word of, there's a disturbance on the right. Shin soldiers appeared and running amok. Enemy unit appeared ahead of us. They're coming right for the base camp. They're gonna kill us. Page 4, Toe, looking like he's a fucking demon. What's it called? On next page after that, page 5, Hoken's like, "Oh, all the dudes are like, oh, we're not gonna chase them. They're getting away. We're gonna chase them. Get into formation." And Hoken just kills the dude for some fucking reason.
He cuts his goddamn head off and says, "Nah, we're not chasing."
Nah, don't do that. But Shin's,
he's on the horse with Oki and like supporting him and getting him out of there. And some of the dudes are like, "Oh, it's impossible." And but it doesn't matter how if he's dead or what shape he's in. He's got to be returned back to the Chin cities, or else they're gonna basically defile his body. I really like Toe in this chapter. He looks like such a fucking demon.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. He's so fucking angry.
Yeah, page 8, like a demon
Yeah.
god.
Mm-hmm. And Riboku even says, they're doing everything they can to let him escape because they know that they're going to defile Oki's body if it's going to fall into Zhao's hands. Kind of makes the point that, like, yeah, if the roles were reversed, we'd be doing the same thing. And even Riboku says, like, this fucking sucks. Like, like this is why I dislike warfare, because all this bad shit is happening. But at the end of the day, the Chin can't open a path with Sentiment alone. They're gonna have to actually fucking fight. Shin and Oki are about to get killed by some cavalry, but Oki wakes up at the last second and helps him out, kills a bunch of dudes. Oki makes the point that, like, Shin's not doing too bad. Like, this is the first time anybody other than Oki himself is able to direct his horse, But this moment is really cool and really formative for Shin because Oki says, close your eyes, take a deep breath. This is an invaluable experience because if this is a true general steed, right now you're running through the battlefield while at the top of the mount of a general. Open your eyes, take a look at everything. This is what it's like to see what a general sees. And Shin has this moment where he can just kind of see everything clearly, like all the enemies, all the people on his side, the sky and the earth. On page 14, we get like the wide shot of everything. We got Tsugen on the side there, Oki's cavalry, awesome shot. I love this shit right here.
Yeah, page 14 is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So Oki's like, do you not like get it? And Shin's like, no, I think I get it. I got a little bit. His body's like filling up with strength. Luckily, there's a Ryukoku managed to break through and was able to escort Oki out of there. Mobu and his boys are basically opening up the route, and it's a narrow path, but they're still able to get through and escape the trap. Did I miss anything about this, guys? Anything else that you wanted to talk about that chapter? That's basically it, right?
Nah, you hit all my notes, so.
So this next chapter is pretty awesome too. I think this one is my favorite chapter.
This is a sad chapter.
Yeah. This guy who has like, who is this now? This guy with
the toe
chopped
guy?
off arm.
Oh. On page
4.
Page 4. That's Saime. He was Chosu's like right hand guy.
Right. And he's pissed off because Oki's escaping, but they're not following him with everything that they've got. And he's pissed off because he thinks that like it'll make Choso's sacrifices in vain. But Rubiku makes the point that like rather than like getting his body, should we like save more soldiers? And Riboku makes a distinction how there's the commanders who were once slain, their soldiers are going to rout, while the other, becomes a symbol of martyrdom and makes them fight even harder. So basically, they're going to be able to kill all of Oki's army, but in the process of doing so, they're going to lose a ton of soldiers because the dudes are going crazy because Oki's dying. he goes on to say the objective of the campaign is not to invade Shin, nor it's the annihilation of Oki's army. It's just to kill Oki himself, you know. They've already achieved their objective, and the battle is ending here, so they're pulling back. We get to a clearing where Oki and the boys, I guess some of his like closest retainers in tow, and the Hishin unit are there, and he's giving like some of his final orders. He says to Toe that, you know, don't let anybody commit suicide after Oki dies, including especially the army commanders. Like nobody's going to follow him into death. He says, though you may have spent many years supporting me, it's not as if your abilities were below mine to begin with, which is something fucking really something to say, right?
Right.
It shows.
Oki pretty much is like, look, you're as good as I am. You're gonna do fine, kid.
Like he's leaving the army to Toe and using Ryukoku as a witness. Page 10, he goes, I'm counting on you, Toe. Yes, sir. And you see Toe's hands, they're just bleeding from how hard he's fucking smashing them together, how hard he's gripping his hands. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mobu has a moment where he's like, I'm sorry. He's actually apologizing. And he's like, I'm sorry, everything was my fault. Are there any words you have for me? He goes, first off, thanks for, he's got to thank your steed for opening up the path. What cost him its life. So Mobu's horse is dead. He says, you know, Mobu's task should be obvious. And from now on, you know, he's going to be the symbol of Chin's military, and he's going to take this knowledge to heart and grow even farther. And how important that is now that they know that the Zhao commander is like such an enemy of unprecedented level. He says, you know, in this era, the military men who are considered to be the strongest are always defeated by the appearance of even more powerful individuals. So that's why I'm saying, like, Oki even says it, that Riboku is more formidable than himself.
Nah. Riboku
he might not be on the actual field, like, as a fighter, but his strategies and tactics are pretty fucking wild.
Nah, fuck Riboku.
He's not a bad guy.
He's a piece of shit, and I can't wait for him to get cut in half.
So, in this chapter, like one of the last things he says, he talks to Shin. He says, you know, he's sorry that he's not able to actually train him because it's become a little bit of impossible now. He says, you know, for general like me to train you is like a little bit too much anyway. You got to learn this stuff by yourself anyway, you fucking idiot. Delve into battle and overcome it with your men. You have the talent to do it. And he gives Shin his glaive.
Awesome moment.
Yeah.
Awesome fucking moment.
His last words are, you know, I have lived by the sword and contributed to the building of an era. Moreover, to be able to die by the sword is just as I desired. In my final days, I was even able to meet a trustworthy sprout of the next era. With this, I have no regrets left. At last, I go to where my fallen friends await. And he's thinking about Kyo in his final moments. And then the narrator picks up, third year of Sei's reign, Oki falls in battle. He doesn't die, he doesn't fall. He just dies standing up almost.
I was just about to make a One Piece. Wait, Jesse.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it reminds me of something in One Piece.
Yeah, the Marineford.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is a Whitebeard moment for sure.
Definitely.
I was gonna say it, and I was like, oh fuck, I don't think Jesse read up to there, and then I was like, oh no, he definitely did.
Yeah. That's right before the time skip.
Yeah.
Even Oki's horse looks sad.
I think I read all of Marineford in one day.
Damn.
Marineford is top tier arc. Top tier. That would be fun to cover when we do One Piece.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like one of the best arcs in One Piece. But yeah, so chapter 173, this is the last chapter we're going to be covering. And a lot of this chapter is just kind of like the reaction of everybody to Oki's death. So basically, you know, Oki's death would spread to all the forces
Doken and Rimbo started crying. Rokuomi just goes into a fucking crazy berserk. They unfortunately died, or they lost a lot of dudes, but they inflicted like double the amount on the Mangoku army who they were pinning down. At this point, like we were saying in the last chapter, Riboku's army, Riboku doesn't want to lose any more dudes, so they're all, they issued the order of retreat. What's his face? Rihaku and Kosen Ryu obeyed like instantly, but Mangoku, who was still completely in the dark, is like pissed off, and like, which is pretty crazy because he didn't, Mangoku is just he's out of the loop entirely. We get Riboku and Hoken speaking, and Riboku saying like, "Yeah, you killed your old foe, but you don't seem satisfied about that." But it's basically because he wasn't able to beat Oki by himself. He would have lost like a few times if it wasn't for other people interfering in the fight. Which goes to show Hoken's a little bitch. He's a little fucking bitch boy. Our boy Oki would have definitely turned everything around if it wasn't for him.
Yep.
Fucking asshole.
Fucking Hoken. Damn it. Fucking Riboku. God damn it.
So, Hoken says to Riboku, like, there's nothing else for him on the battlefield. The only reason he did any of this was so he could go after Oki, but now that he's dead, there's nothing left for him, so he's just going to go into the mountains and train again. But Riboku says, you're welcome to join us anytime. There's got to be a golden age of turbulent times, which I guess would be a red bloody age. So the Zhao retreated. So the Qin technically won because the Zhao left, but the Zhao's, like we said before, the Zhao's goal wasn't to do, invade or kill the Qin army. It was just to kill Oki. So they basically won.
Right.
And the people of Bayou were saying from their point of view they had successfully defended against the Zhao invasion, but there was not a single person in the Qin army that was watching Zhao's retreat like in a happy way. Everybody that watched Oki's death are still sobbing, including Shin, who was bequeathed his mighty glaive.
Got a cool shot of Mobu staring at Shin as well.
Yeah, I guess he's able to recognize that Shin's abilities are above most people at this point. Because even if Oki even fucking recognizes him as strong, then he's got to. Because I think Mobu really started to. At the beginning of this arc, he was like super disrespectful towards Oki and basically everybody. But by the end of this, after he's been outplayed and taken down a few pegs, I think this is a little bit changing for Mobu too.
For sure.
Because he fucked everything up. It was all his fault. So we get a little bit of character development from Mobu. The news of Oki's death spreads to the rest of China basically instantly, and the news quakes everybody. We get to see a little bit of like some of the people in the other courts. Like we see Qi, we see Yan, we see Chu, Wei and Han, and people celebrating. We see a few of these characters. I don't want to say which ones are like super important to the story.
Oh yeah.
Coming up like super soon.
Especially one in particular.
Yeah, one in very particular, but also there's I don't want to say.
I know, but there's one specifically that is very, very important. But they're all pretty important to the story, so.
And the news also obviously spread to the Qin royal capital, and everybody's upset with that. And Shobunkun goes to outside to compose himself, and some court noble's like, "Where the fuck you going? You piece of shit! We're in the middle of a meeting," and he just grabs this dude by the face on page 11. I love that. He just fucking crushes this dude's mouth. So he goes outside, and actually King Sei is there. He's saying, he passed down a message from King Sho about some teachings about how to be a royal or a worthy king worthy of ruling all of China. And it flashes back to that conversation that I had about how rather than oppressing them, treat the people that they conquer as with the same love as he would with his normal subjects. And he thanks Oki. He's like, he wasn't taught any of this by his father. And Oki says, yeah, of course he didn't. He didn't tell his father about King Sho's message because the message was only meant for the future kings that have the will and the markings to inherit his will to conquer all of China, which his father did not have. Damn. I love these 2 pages here on page 14 to 15. Let us aim for all of China together, Your Majesty. Shobunkun and Sei just crying there. Really fucking sad.
Yeah, it's super sad, man.
Also, about half a month later, 15 days or so, all the men from the other units or from the armies go back home. We see Taku go back home, and all his family's relieved that he's alive. Ryusen goes back to his wife and his kids, his new baby. Bihei goes back to Johto village, and it shows Yuri, collapsing at because To is dead. And we get a little bit of the narrator saying, Shin didn't talk about Oki's death because he was just trying to sort out his feelings. He came home and breathed a sigh of relief. And Karyoten's there, who managed to get a few days off to, hang out with Shin. And yeah, that's basically the end of this chapter and the end of this arc. What a fucking way to end it. Jesse, were you expecting them to lose like that?
No, and I wasn't expecting Oki to die so early on in the story, like I was saying at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, for such a hyped character, for him to go out like that is really sad. But I do enjoy that they did it, just because. Well, I don't enjoy that he died.
Well, I don't know. You sound like a big Riboku fan.
I know.
Over there.
There's fucking Riboku stan over here. God damn, dude.
Riboku is a great character, and we'll get to see more of why I think he's such an amazing character going
Riboku
forward.
is awesome. Really good character. Like I said, probably the best strategist in all of China. But I can't forgive him. Cannot forgive him for what he has done and what he will continue to do. That's what makes him such a good character, though. He is the antagonist, and he's written in a way that you want to see him lose, but he doesn't lose because he's so fucking talented.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people that like him. I mean, I don't hate the guy. I think he's an awesome character, and I think he's one of the better characters in Kingdom. One of the more well-rounded, fleshed-out characters in Kingdom.
He's not as well-rounded as Kosen Ryu. But...
Well, come on now. He's all-rounder, baby. But, that's what makes him such a good character, is because you like seeing him and you like to root against him.
Yeah.
And as much as you do, he doesn't lose.
No, never, because he's just so much of a badass. But his thing is, his motivations are actually pretty good too. Like it's not like he's not like a Mangoku type who just wants revenge and wants to kill, and he's like super one-dimensional. Or Shomo, who is just a fucking pig and a sick fuck bastard. Like his motivations are to protect Zhao, and is truly disgusted at the idea of Shin trying to take over everything, which we'll get into that in very soon, actually.
Yes, very soon.
We'll get to see a little bit about that. But yeah, I'm glad we were able to get through all of this in one go. Man,
what a strong end to this arc. And Jesse, I'm telling you, man, this shit only gets stronger and stronger. Both like in the story gets more intense, but also the artwork gets a lot better as well. So for next episode, it's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter one, just because the art, like we finished the Battle of Bayou arc. It should be about 174 to 188, if I'm not wrong. Just on the Kingdom fandom wiki. This is how it splits the arcs up, and that's how we're, kind of scheduling our episodes and stuff. And yeah, like I said, it starts 174 to 188. That's only 14 chapters. We just did almost 30 chapters. No, we just did 23. What am I talking?
Yeah, 23 chapters.
So yeah, it'll be a shorter episode, but
we're gonna cover 2 arcs with it as well.
Yeah. And then we'll get to the Sanyo campaign and the Sanyo aftermath. We're getting to it, boys. We're getting to the best part very soon.
Very soon we're getting to probably what most people who read Kingdom would tell you is the best.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But I think the Sanyo campaign is also amazing. We get a really cool character. Actually, 2 really cool characters that are going to be antagonists.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah, and the Sanyo campaign is actually kind of short. It's actually shorter than what the Bayou arc we just did. But it's still pretty solid.
Still pretty meaty.
Well, all right. On that note, I guess we should call it quits on this episode. Yeah, thanks for sticking it through, everybody. We appreciate you listening. We always have a fun time talking to you guys. Yeah, as always, this has been KINGDUMMIES by the Mangaki no Tsukai boys. And thank you for listening, and we hope you have a good day. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.